Aloha and good evening, everyone, on this pleasant Friday night from Orem, Utah. We welcome you to the Bruin Bowl at KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of high school football. And this presentation of Timpanogos football, KSL Sports Rewind, is presented by Brent Brown Toyota Scion as we bring you the second leg of the City Triangle as Mountain View and Timpanogos prepare to open region play. Alongside my broadcast partner, Alex Amrine. I'm Alexander. It's good to be with you again. So, Amrine, I turn to you. First thing I say is we saw this Timpanogos team in action last week against Hurricane. Took them a little bit to get going, but they ended up getting the win. They're going to need a lot better start tonight against a team that, even though they're 0-3 on paper, it's still a rivalry game.
Yeah, like you said, like with the 0-3 start, they are still a very good team. Their quarterback is very good. He's got a strong arm, so they're going to be strong defensively. We saw the Timpanogos side got to a bit of a slow start in the game last week, and they'll need to be on their A game here.
Now, as we said, Timpanogos coming off a 42-22 victory over Hurricane last week. I mean, it was the Luke Livingston show. As we saw last week, Alex Amrine scored, 4 of the 6 touchdowns, or accounted for 5 of them last week. 14 total touchdowns on the season already through 3 games. This kid is just from another planet right now.
No, that kid is just a beast. He is something else to watch. He's kind of those players that just make high school so much fun. I mean, in high school, you got a lot of talented athletes. But, on every team, you have 2 or 3 players that are just next level. And he is one of those players for this team, and he is one of those players that's 2 or 3 in the state that's just next level. And so he just sets off fireworks in the stadium, and I'm excited to see what he has to offer us tonight.
We're going to step aside for just a moment while they do the national anthem.
No, and despite the 3 interceptions that we saw from him, he also had 3 touchdowns. He had some great deep balls. I really like his composure in the pocket. Despite when pressure comes, he stays cool, confident. He doesn't let that get in the way of his throws. I think with this Timberwolves side, we saw last week they're really able to bring the pressure and disrupt the offensive line. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to be able to keep that composure here. If he does, they have a very good chance to hold their own and perhaps get their first win of the season.
Now let's take a look at our keys to the game presented by Heidemann and Associates, our official sponsor, our special law firm sponsor, KSL Sports Rewind, throughout the season. Okay, Amrine, really quick before kickoff begins, as Timpanogos won the coin toss, they'll take the kickoff. Let's go over what Mountain View needs to do to win.
Well, for the keys to the game, I think they just got to score early. Like I briefly mentioned before, Timpanogos, they kind of struggled in their first offensive drive. But if they can get out there and put points on the board first, I think they're going to be able to set the tone for the game. And so I think if they were able to play like catch-up, force Timpanogos to play catch-up, I think they have a good shot at this game. As well, on the defensive side, just bring pressure often. With the Timberwolves not having an experienced quarterback under center, MJ Yosefo and Luke Livingston can be flustered easily if the Bruins bring that heat on them. And on the other side of the ball, just really quick before we have kickoff here, just continue to feed Luke Livingston. We talked about what he can do. He's a great component to this team. He really carried the team on the back last week. And as well on the defensive side, just play aggressive in the secondary.
Sends us away into the night. Does Messi Pahulu. The kickoff is bobbled. And up the sideline to the 20, 25, 30. And a big hit. Well, what a start to the game we just had.
Yeah, excitement on both sides right there. A little bit of a muff kickoff right there. Was able to run down the sideline and take a hard hit. I always love when they try to set the tone before the defense even gets out there on the special teams. How about that?
It's what you like to see. And it's going to be a hard-hitting, physical game all night long. We are assured of that. And so Timpanogos will start with the ball, 1st and 10 at the 31. Luke Livingston was announced as the starting quarterback, but instead it's MJ Yosefo who'll go into the shotgun on 1st down and 10 from the 31. Again, the game clock bug on your screen is unofficial. And the handoff up the middle and going absolutely nowhere on the play is number 22, Easton Bretzing, who normally lines up in the wide receiver spot, but that time he lined up in the backfield, and that time he went absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, usually on those plays we like to see, which gap for the offensive line broke down. I think there wasn't a gap that was open on that one. I think they all broke down.
2nd down and 12. They say he lost 2 on the play. Yosefo, quick pass, that is high and incomplete, and through the hands of Easton Bretzing, and already it's 3rd down.
And despite, these 2 not great plays at the start of this drive, I would say it's already better than last week. Last week they didn't really know what their game plan was. They still have Luke Livingston at quarterback. I think last week showed them that MJ Yosefo is the guy that they want under center. Luke Livingston, be that guy who's going to be out there and catch the ball and take it to the house. So I'm already liking the game plan so far. Let's see what they have to do here on 3rd down.
A reminder, Timpanogos scored almost all of their touchdowns on 3rd and 4th down last week. And here's the first instance, 3rd down and 12. Yosefo going to toss it to Bretzing, and he goes absolutely nowhere. First contact made by Austin Atwood. And it's 3 and out for the Timberwolves, and the Bruins are going to get the football to start the game.
Yeah, great job by Austin Atwood right there. He knows that MJ Yosefo, this whole defense should know that guy can run as well as throw. So he's watching and waiting for an option play right there. Sees the running back get it and tracks him down for the tackle for loss.
Back to get the punt is Lucas Bautista. To kick it away, Harris Reed for the Timberwolves. Just underway here in the battle of the City Triangle. And once again, Timpanogos is a man short on the punt formation. We saw this a couple of times last week. Play clock down to 4. It's a low snap, and now we have a flag. And I have a feeling, I think this is going to be an illegal motion against the Timberwolves, and it is. That's the signal.
Yeah, it's interesting because they had that kind of punt. Pretty much every punt they had last week, they had that sprinter come down in the middle and go down as soon as the hike was released right there. Oh, delay of game. How about that?
Well, the signal from the line judge was that it was an illegal motion infraction going towards the line of scrimmage. This time a better snap for Harris Reed. And it's a good kick. Wobbler that will drive Bautista back to the 32. At the 40. And he'll get swallowed up at about the 43-yard line by a sea of white shirts.
Yeah.
So the T-Wolves go 3 and out, and now we get to see Mountain View come out for the first time, and here comes the sophomore quarterback, Lotoa Lessa.
Yeah, and, they have a very good running back. They do a good job of throwing it out to the flats. I'm excited to see if they're going to go to that or if they're going to go heavy on the deep ball to the outsides. I think that really is, their quarterback strengths right there. Let's see if they play to them. And how about that punt? We saw the Timpanogos punter before this game. He was just kicking these long balls with great hang time out there. He allowed, unfortunately, the returner for Mountain View was able to get a good return on that, but great punt.
Well, that happens when you're at elevation, Alex Amrine. You get air underneath the ball a lot of the times. Lessa will go into the shotgun on 1st and 10. Ball at the 42-yard line. Takes the snap, hands off to Pahulu. Pahulu with a hole, midfield, out to the 45, and a first down for the Mountain View Bruins. Messi Pahulu, who had 130 yards rushing last week, already picking up close to 20 on that one there, Amrine, and the first down of the game for the Bruins.
Yeah, good job right there. He got the ball, was able to scan, see where the linebackers were, wiggle his way, and get a nice about 12-yard gain for the first.
Up tempo now. Here comes Mountain View. Triple wide receiver lines up to the right. Pahulu, the lone setback in the left hip pocket of Lotoalesa, who drops the pass on 1st and 10. Pressure coming off the edge. Steps up, and he goes down. Aiden Vongsawan on the safety blitz. 16 sacks as a team on the season for these Timpanogos Timberwolves, and there's number 1 on the night, Alex Amrine.
Yeah, well, that's one of my favorite plays when they bring the secondary into the action right there and get him on the blitz. And, you know, good job at least avoiding the first pressure, but came down from behind. A good job holding onto the ball right there. It looks like that might have been loose for a second.
Lotoalesa now on 2nd down and 16 from the 49. Lessa looking, steps up, gets away. Now he's going to take off and run. He'll get the yardage he lost back plus a couple more. And he'll pick up, call it about maybe 8 yards. It'll be 3rd down and a manageable 6 or 7 to go here. Call it a long 9 here for the Mountain View Bruins.
Yeah, and Lessa right there, he was looking left immediately and saw the pressure break down in the pocket. Did a good job scrambling out, getting a few yards, making the 3rd and manageable.
Triple wide receiver lines up in tandem to the left. Pahulu again, the lone setback with Lotoalesa. 3rd down and 9 now from the 44. Lessa looking, rolls to his right, hit as he throws in a double coverage, and it's caught! Somehow inside the 20, making the catch for the Mountain View Bruins is
pass complete to Mullen.
Ty Mullen out inside the red zone. Boy, a play that looked like it was going nowhere. Picks up 29 on that one, and it's 1st and 10 inside the red zone.
Yeah, that looked like just a bit of a missed job right there by the Timberwolves secondary, but a good job by Mullen hauling that ball after it was initially juggled.
And Lessa was clobbered as he threw the ball up in the air. It looked like it was a wounded duck, but somehow Mullen came back for it. Now 1st and 10. Now we have a flag and a false start upcoming here against Mountain View. Randall Silcox is our referee.
How about that ball on that last throw with the hit? Yeah,
that was a beautiful throw. And by the way, sorry folks, it is not a false start. It is an offside penalty against Timpanogos. Pardon my error. Again, Randall Silcox is our referee. First and 5 now, ball on the 9. Again, Pahulu lines up as the single setback. High snap, hand off to Pahulu, goes into the stack, and he'll pick up about maybe 3. Down about the 7-yard line. They'll call it officially 2.
Yeah, right there, just trying to punch it up the middle, get that running game going. We saw a bit of... Let's see if they can punch it in through on the ground here.
Just underway here at Mountain View High School, the Bruin Bowl on a beautiful night. Kickoff temperature close to 94 degrees. It is a hot night to say the least here in Orem, Utah. Has been for most of the week. Lessa, pitch, Pahulu, right side, trying to get the corner. And he is not going to make it. What a play on the edge there by Tage Litster. Litster collapsed right down from his free safety spot and did not allow Pahulu to turn the corner to bring up 3rd down.
We know what a good job Litster does on crashing on play. We saw last week he was able to read a good coverage, get a pick to basically seal the game. Good job right there, reading the play and then coming down to make the tackle.
So 3rd down now. So now 3rd down and 5 at the 9. Lessa throws right side, man open, it's incomplete. Intended to the near side for Bo Peterson, the leading receiver, and it's 4th down, and it's decision time coming here for head coach Abe Pahuska.
You know, it's interesting right there. They call the receiver in motion running to the flats on the left side. And I'm always interested when it's a 3rd down situation. Are you going to throw it before the end zone? Or are you going to throw it into the end zone? They chose right there, which shows that, you know, had they been getting some yardage, they might have gone for 4th down as they were kind of hesitant to bring out their field goal unit right here. But it looks like they are going to settle for 3.
So they will, and it is Calvin Floyd who will do the honors. This officially a 29-yarder. It is placed, it is kicked, and it is good.
Field goal is good by Floyd.
So Calvin Floyd hits the first field goal of the game, and with 6:43 to go here in the first quarter, it is 3-0 in favor of Mountain View. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of high school football.
At UCCU, we'll provide
Kicking for Mountain View, Cueva. Receiving for Timpanogos, Hunter.
First quarter. 6:43 left first quarter. It is 3-0 in favor of Mountain View. Mountain View over Timpanogos. Timpanogos football and KSL Sports Rewind is presented by Brent Brown Toyota Scion. Apologies, folks. We've been having some audio issues here with our microphones. We're trying to get it squared away. And it is a pooch kick, and it is a scramble, but it goes out of bounds, and that is going to put the ball at the 35-yard line.
How about that? Trying an onside kick. And how about that? Sorry, we had some more audio difficulties right there, but the onside kick, that's quite the bold move right there. That would give, and it's going to give the Timberwolves some great field position right there. You know, and we talked about in the pregame, I think one of the keys to the game is for this Bruins side to get on the board first, preferably with a touchdown, but a field goal ain't bad. And, you know, they, other than that one strong safety sack they had, bringing the pressure, it didn't look like the defense had a lot of answers for this Bruins side. Let's see if the Timberwolves can respond.
Livingston now in a quarterback, goes into the shotgun, takes the snap, rolls to his right, pressure coming, and he goes down! Boy, did he take a hit right there. Dustin Havea said absolutely not. And the second sack already here for the Bruins.
What a play by Havea right there. I love that he did not let Livingston dictate the end of that play right there. He wrapped him up, and while he was trying to get away, just brought him down by the shoulder pads to the turf.
Wow, we have seen some hits here in the first half of this first quarter. Here's Livingston breaking into a clearing, and he'll get about maybe 4 yards, and the ball came out. Mountain View says they have it, and it is theirs. Or is it? No, they're going to say it's third down. Wow.
Livingston brought down by Cueva.
You know, I saw Havea go for the ball as soon as he wrapped up Livingston right there before when he was initially brought down, and you know that could have gone either way right there, but the refs say it's Timberwolves' ball.
So third down anyway, third down and a mile here. Livingston looking for Bretsing, doesn't have him, and now he's going to throw for him on the flat. He's going to need a block, and he is not going to get the first down. He is brought down a couple of yards shy of the first down of the 48. And I would think a betting man here says it's fourth down, you're going for it, and they are. And we're going to get a timeout by Abe Pahuska.
Timeout, Mountain View.
Wow, Alex Amrei, what a start we've had to this second leg of the City Triangle.
I know this has been a very, very exciting game. Last week we saw both sides kind of struggling to figure it out, both offensively and defensively. Both teams right here seem to have a pretty good idea of what their game plan is. Timberwolves a bit more on the struggling side. I like the call here to go on fourth and short. Props to Austin Heaps right there, the coach. Let's see if they run on the ground. I'd be looking for MJ Iosefa right here to run the rock.
Well, we'll see what they do here. It'll be 4th down and a short 2 coming up. 5:10 officially left here in the first quarter. 3-0 Mountain View. If you're just joining us, Alexander Timolep alongside my broadcast partner, Alex Amrine. We'd like to remind you, KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of high school sports is presented all season long by Heidemann & Associates, a full-service law firm that is dedicated to winning for their clients. Whether you need patents for your business or you need to handle estate planning, Heidemann & Associates is there for you. Call them today at 801-754-4240 or make your consultation online with them at utah.law. Livingston Iosefo line up in the backfield. 5:10 officially on our clock left to go here in the first quarter. 4th and 2. The Wolves need to get it to midfield even for a first down. And it's Iosefo who takes it, and I think he has got it. And the signal is that he does. Well, we'll see. Oh man, this is going to be close. And it looks like they're going to say move the chains.
Yeah, that was a close one right there. It's one of those classic, bring out the chain game moments, but I did think that he got it right there. Good play by Iosefo.
And now quickly back to the line. Pass is caught by Graff on the screen, and he will get taken down at about the 46-yard line.
Brought down by
we saw a lot of that last week, Alex Amrine, the screen game to try and get Iosefo and Livingston a little confidence, and there it is again.
Yeah, just that go-go, high-powered offense. They're running it again right here.
And this time it's Iosefo. He goes nowhere. And it's going to bring up another 3rd down here for Timpanogos. Let's see if Abe Poduska decides to bring the heat here on 3rd down and 6. No gain. Livingston takes the option, going backwards, needs a block, and he's not going to get the first down. He is short.
Livingston with the keeper.
Again.
Out of bounds by Shumway.
Shumway guided him out of bounds. And now 4th down and 3 again. And again, it looks like Timpanogos is going for it. They have triple wide receiver lined up to the left. Gabe Graff is on the bottom of the screen to the right. Iosefo in the backfield. Another 4th down. Livingston to throw. Throws. It is complete, but not going to get the first down. In fact, it's an incomplete pass, and that is a turnover on downs for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, no, I figured they were going to do a screen right there, but it was kind of a weird, just little, comeback route on the outside. It didn't really look like he was planning to go anywhere. It looked like one of those routes where he should have run to at least the first down marker and then turn around, but he stopped about 2-3 yards short. Now it's Bruins ball. Not a huge fan of the way that play was drawn out and executed.
Yeah, very poor execution there on the part of the Timpanogos Timberwolves with 4:20 left here in the first quarter. And the play clock is running here. And it looks like we're going to have a delay of game penalty. Well, we're trying our best to keep up with the game clock and the play clock here, folks, and we're going to have a conversation, Amrine. And if I'm being honest, it didn't look like Mountain View had a chance to even get out on the field before they started the clock.
No, and it seemed like Mountain View thought that they had a lot more time than they did, time to figure out what they were going to do on this drive. I think that they were suspecting that the refs were maybe having discussion or were just figuring out some stuff that refs do. I'm not really sure what they talk about before those pre-drive talks, but they are discussing it now, so hopefully they can get all squared away, and that way we can help you, the viewers, know how much time is left in this first quarter.
I would really love to know what goes on in those officials' huddles down there. What do you think they talk about down there?
Well, I feel like that's one of those classic SNL skits right there. They get together, okay, wait, who saw that last play? You ever seen those skits?
Yes, I have. It's like who's got who on the line,
Yeah, no, I'm right there like, okay, who forgot to tell them to stop the play clock right there? I'm always a big fan of those little things in football that we're all wondering about, but we never truly know what's going on right there. We're glad it looks like they finally got squared away.
And once again, we are having issues with the play clock, and Abe Poduska is going ballistic down here on the sideline.
Yeah, I think he's, in the right to do so. I mean, the refs now have had, they should have had 2 times now to talk about it. He's still discussing it, not sure what the issue is. Now that he has to get involved and talk to the refs to get it all squared away.
And here comes Randall Silcox. The white hat you see in the screen is Randall Silcox. That's our head referee. Meanwhile, Abe Poduska is still trying to plead his case that they thought they had a lot more time than they did, and I don't think he's going to let this go anytime soon, Amrine. And now Silcox is telling him to tone it down.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of unfair that there was a delay of game penalty. The ball is pushed back 5 yards. Not the way that you want to start off a drive, especially after just scoring. Your offense is on a roll. You want to keep that momentum going. You don't want any time for the players to get complacent, for them to get tired. You want to just have your game plan executed. You don't want any time to think it and get in your own head right there, and especially give the defensive side more time to plan and prep.
Well, it looks like the discussion's over. Poduska is happy with it, but, at least satisfactorily, I think, to his chagrin. But anyway, off we go again. So after that long stoppage, it is still 3-0 in favor of Mountain View. Alexander Timolip and Alex Amrine, the voices you're hearing right now, here inside the Bruin Bowl on a 90-plus degree Friday night. Oh, now I see what the issue is, Amrine. If you look over to the north end zone over here, Amrine, the play clock over there is out. Not only that, both play clocks have gone out. Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. They need to figure out some electrical issues. Now, this issue's beyond my skills.
Well, the next best thing is to keep the 40-second and 25-second play clock on the field of play. There's our cameraman Doug is zooming in on it right now there for you folks. The play clocks are out here at the Bruin Bowl. The scoreboard is still working, thankfully. We still have power. But as our cameraman Doug just showed you, the play clocks are both inoperative here at Mountain View High School, so it looks like we're going to go old-fashioned and keep the 40 and 25-second clocks on the field. Lessa on first down. A layoff to Pahulu, and that pass is incomplete. Thrown a little bit wide of him. And it'll be 2nd and 15.
Yeah, they're going to Pahulu a lot. I saw in the highlights last weekend's Juab, he had a very good job of just, creating something out of nothing in an open space right there. He's able to read the blocks really well. He's seen it a little bit through the air, on the ground right there. Unfortunate, because it looks like he did have some space in front of him. I'm curious to see how often they're going to go to him the rest of this game.
Lessa on 2nd and 15 takes a hit, throws down the field. It's incomplete. And it'll be 3rd down and long again for the Bruins, as Floyd was the intended receiver on the streak route down the near side. Miller in coverage.
Yeah, he's got to be careful on that. Tyler Hunter, playing strong safety, came crashing pretty hard, a bit too hard. If he stayed just, with a bit of cushion right there, that could have easily been an interception.
3rd down and 15 now, ball at the 40, about at the 38 rather. Lessa, with so much time, he can read a book back there. Now it starts to break down, gets out of the pocket. Now he'll take off and run, gets past the first wave, and he is going to be, oh boy, this is going to be close, Amrine.
Yeah, and, part of football is playing with the cards that are dealt to you. Right there, he felt pressure. I mean, he rolled out right. I think he had that temptation to throw it deep right, but he made the right decision right there. He knows that he can move the ball with his legs, and he gets so close right there. 4th and short, and it looks like they are going to go for it.
It is going to be 4th down. Fourth and call it the length of a chicken katsu here on 4th and 1. Pahulu can't hold on to it. Not only could he take the handoff, he fumbled, and it is Timpanogos football.
Yeah, great job right there by the defense. Just crashing the A-gaps, stopping them, not even getting an inch on that play right there. That's the kind of momentum that a defense is able to give to an offense. Now, see if this offense can get out here and at least tie the game or get some points on the board and make things really interesting.
Well, Timpanogos needed to get off to a quicker start than they did last week. They haven't been able to do it so far. Again, the play clocks are out here at the Bruin Bowl, but we still have our game clocks operative. Iosefo looking, throws to Livingston, double pass, and Livingston looking, throws down the field, he's got a man open, and it's caught! Gabe Graff, touchdown, Timberwolves!
Pass complete to Graf.
Don't blink because you'll miss it!
Timpanogos.
Gabe Graf, a 48-yard touchdown reception from Luke Livingston, and the T-Wolves jump on top with the trickery.
Yeah, what a bold play call right there. We didn't see anything really that crazy last week over at Timpanogos High. That was a great job right there by Luke Livingston. Obviously, one, catching the ball, sensing the pressure, rolling out further to the right, and throwing the ball all the way down to the field to the 10-yard line for Graf, who took it all the way to the house.
Talk about a spark. Luke Livingston able to provide it with a 46-yard run at the end of the first quarter last week. This time it's a 48-yard double screen pass as the extra point is good. And with 3:12 left to go here in the first quarter, it is 7-3 in favor of Timpanogos. Back in just a moment after this word from WGU on KSLSports.com with the T-Wolves leading 7-3.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Test day's test day. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of VU.
Oh, how quickly things can change. Welcome back to KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of high school football. Timpanogos football at KSL Sports Rewind is presented by Brent Brown, Toyota Scion, Alexander Timolip, and Alex Amrine talking through a single microphone here at the Bruin Bowl in Orem, Utah. After the turnover on downs, Luke Livingston, a 48-yard touchdown pass to Gabe Graf. Harris Reed set to kick off with 3:12 to go. Alex Amrine, I should point out, Livingston's 15th total touchdown of the season in 4 games.
Yeah, and like we talked in pregame, he can do it all right there. A great deep ball right there. Had plenty of hang time to get over the free safety, to get it to Graf. I'm excited to see what the rest of this quarter has to offer. The rest of this game, really, I'm excited. Up here on the top of the broadcast booth, Alex and I are getting cozy, sharing the same mic.
Touchback out to the 25, out to the 20-yard line. That's where the Mountain View Bruins will start. So now interesting here, Alex Amrine, that the Bruins have taken a punch. It's time to see what Loto Alessa's got in his arsenal here to respond.
It's always interesting because being behind, it always kind of changes the way that you play. When you're up like they were before, well, of course, just by a field goal, it does change kind of your dynamic. You're a bit more confident in yourself. You feel like you can take a bit more shots. We'll see if Podeska, is bold here, wants to call some deep balls. We've had a lot of rolling out of the pocket throws, which can be kind of dangerous. One, if they're bringing pressure, but also, two, if the secondary's on their A game. And they got some ball hawks back there, as we know.
Lessa will go empty backfield here on 1st and 10 from the 20. Bohulu now motions out to the left. He gets the reception on 1st and 10. Breaks a tackle. Breaks another. He'll get about 9. Out to about close to the 30-yard line. Brought down on the play by Nash Price.
Yeah, not only does Bohulu have great speed and great hands, he's kind of a bit of a freight train, too. He's got that kind of intimidating look, the hair flowing in the back of the helmet. He just looks cool. As a defender, you don't want to run into that right there. He came charging down, drops the shoulder, gets a good gain of 9.
Yeah, it reminds me almost of a Nady Lawa back in the day, if anyone remembers. University of Hawaii running back under June Jones. On the 29 now, Lessa fakes the play action. Here comes the blitz, and that is picked off. That's Tyson Miller. Goodbye, touchdown. And a penalty flag goes down in the end zone for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Touchdown by Timpanogos. There is a flag on the play also.
How quickly things can change.
Yeah, good job right there by Tyson Miller, being aware, getting the pick, and taking it back to the house. Just got a little too excited. I was waiting for that penalty flag to come out for excessive celebration, and unfortunately that's going to push him back on the kickoff. But, great job by the defense, taking advantage of the bit of a broken play right there on the play action. That is the way that you want your defense to respond. After your offense gets the points, you say, hey, we can get on the board too. And they go out and do it right there.
2 minutes, 26 seconds officially left here in the first quarter. And just like last week, the Timberwolves look like they have woken up after a slow start. Harris Reed now for the extra point. and it's right through. 14-3. Timberwolves with 2 minutes, 26 seconds left here in the first quarter.
The penalty was unsportsmanlike conduct.
So, Alex Amrine, as we're taking a look here, as we're about almost halfway home to the end of the first quarter, let's take a look at our X factors for both sides. Brought to you, of course, by Heidemann and Associates, the official law firm of KSL Sports Rewind. Well, I think one guy wearing the number 1 jersey caught your eye for Mountain View.
Yeah, from Mountain View, Bo Peterson. He's a guy to look out for. I was watching, their plays last week against Juab. He's a speedy slot receiver who plays his lack of height to his advantage. He's one of those guys, a little bit shorter, but he knows that he can get lost in the traffic. So if he uses that to his advantage, he can, he had a great game last week. 4 catches, 71 yards, including a 30-yard touchdown reception. I think that if they look to him, he could be one of those guys that, little back pocket, They can go to him when things are looking bleak, someone that maybe Timpanogos isn't always expecting. And then on the other side of the ball for Timpanogos, I'm going with Easton Bretsing for the Timberwolves. And forgive me, last week, that stat line for Bo Peterson, that was actually Easton Bretsing. I got ahead of myself right there. This guy, Easton, he showed us last week that the offense doesn't always need to rely on Luke Livingston and MJ Osefo. They can go to him as well in the deep ball game.
Well, let's see if the Bruins decide to go to Peterson here on this next drive. The kickoff will be at the 25 because of the penalty. And Reed's kickoff is a deep one, and it will drive all the way into the end zone, and by rule, the ball is dead. A touchback to the 20. So Timpanogos leads 14-3. In case you missed it, Mountain View took the ball down the field, got a field goal on their opening drive, and then in the blink of an eye, turnover on downs by Timpanogos, and then a 48-yard touchdown pass by Luke Livingston to Gabe Graff. And then I guess you could say it was a pick six. I mean, it was a fumble that was returned for a touchdown, but goes either way. Either way, saying I guess it's a fumble return or a pick six, whatever you want to call it, and that's where we are right now, 14-3. Lessa hands off to Pahulu, and Pahulu will get about maybe 5 before he's brought down there by Aiden Vongsawad.
Yeah, and this is one of those plays where they probably are going to go back to fundamentals. And, off of that fumble, they want to just make sure, of course, that they hold on to the rock, that they do their job. You know that I'm a big proponent. I'm a big fan of that, right, being a New England Patriots fan. But, when you have those kind of mistakes, you need to make sure that you're doing everything possible to make sure the defense doesn't get any freebies right there. Down by 11 right now, they got to make sure that they can get some points on the board and make sure that the game doesn't get out of hand.
Lessa going to take off again out of the pocket, and he's going to pick up a first down and more as he gives a bit of a shove to Aiden Vongsawad on that near sideline. And Lessa has a first down across the 30 to the 35-yard line. That will move the chains for the Bruins.
Yeah, another good job right there by Lessa, avoiding pressure, getting the first down. As he's going out of bounds, give a little bump to that defender. Show him that it's your field right here. This is your home turf. Show them that you're going to be the one that's going to be more aggressive.
Pahulu out of the game now. Peterson goes in motion to the right. And Lessa on 1st and 10. Pass is deflected and incomplete as they try to set up the RPO right there. And that one probably should have been picked off.
Yeah, that was a good job right there by Jaden Robinson, middle linebacker. Perhaps he doesn't have the hands of all the secondary right there, but a good job just being aware because that was a quick pass right off the get-go. And at the very least, that's got to give, the linebacker core some confidence. Hey, we can get in this passing game as well. We can disrupt things.
Lessa will now line up with Pahulu at his left hip pocket on 2nd down. Handoff to Pahulu. Pahulu slips to a crease. Pahulu gets a block, and he is going to be brought down at the 45. That's enough to move the chains for the Mountain View Bruins.
First down, Mountain View.
And after having 130 yards last week, it looks like the game plan is get back to the fundamentals. Amrine, as you said, and Abe Poduska must have heard you because they're handing the rock out to Pahulu and just letting him go.
Yeah, one more thing about Pahulu. I would love to see the stat line for him for yards after contact. This guy just gets banged around, just keeps on going like a bowling ball. Great pickup right there.
Well, here it is again, and look at him just carry people with him into the gap. I mean, that's Cody Hawks who's trying to ride him down from behind, but that's a big dude you're trying to bring down riding his back.
Yeah, and Pahulu took a little bit of shot right there as he was going down, but he doesn't look shaken up at all. He's ready to run this rock again, perhaps even catch it. We haven't seen them go to that as much as we have, previously in this first quarter right here. I'm interested right now. It seems like they've gone to him quite a bit. I'm going to see if they're going to go through the air and get something going through the air right there.
Bo Peterson lines up in the slot, but they're going to hand it to Pahulu again, and this time he goes nowhere. Brought down after maybe an inch. Brighton Tate, first one to bring him down, and it'll once again be third down, and I have a feeling with the clock rolling and our play clock out, that will be the end of the first quarter. Mountain View scored first. Timpanogos scored the next 14. Our game clock bug on your screen there is unofficial. We are about 3 seconds ahead of the bug. Bahulu's going to get the handoff on third down and long. Or rather, that's Cuevas who gets the handoff, and he's going to pick up the first down and more, and that will take us to the end of the first quarter after they set the chains. I mean, Amrine, just power football right up the gut.
Yeah, and how about this running back duo right there? Cuevas just, also kind of got that bowling ball look to him, like he's just charging right there like a bull. I really liked how he just, he stumbled for 4 or 5 yards at the end of that play. That's a great way to, end this first quarter, set you up with a fresh set of downs to start the second.
What an interesting first quarter we had. Mountain View scored first. Timpanogos scored the next 14. What happens next? We'll be back in 30 seconds after this word from Western Governors University. You're watching Timpanogos football presented by Brent Brown Toyota Scion on KSLSports.com.
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
Welcome back to the Bruin Bowl here in Orem, Utah. Alexander Timolip alongside Alex Amrine talking through one microphone here at the Bruin Bowl. It is 14-3. Timpanogos football. KSL Sports Rewind is presented by Brent Brown Toyota Scion. We are here for the second leg of the City Triangle. Otto Alesa will line up with Cuevas in his right hip pocket. He'll play action to him. Now throws. That is complete. And breaking a tackle and getting down inside the 20. Down to about the 10-yard line is Ty Mullen again, and it's first and goal again there, or rather it's first and 10 for the 15 there for the Bruins.
Yeah, great grab right there. He had some pressure coming from behind. A good job by Tave Lister, making sure that he didn't get away right there, tugging onto that jersey, holding on for dear life, bringing him down at about the 20-yard line. Good pickup right there, cutting the field in half right there. In the red zone right here, of course, your playbook starts to shrink a little bit as you grow near to the end zone. So I imagine they're going to run the ball.
Well, Pahulu is in the backfield, and they'll play action to him. Now throw, and the pass is incomplete. Again, that's Logan Wheeler getting his hand on it. And it'll be second down and about 10 to go from the 15 for the Bruins. And they tried that RPO quite a bit.
Yeah, no, they have. I think it's a clever way to, one, expand your playbook and keep the defense guessing. Play action is one thing, but RPO, it really causes you to read the eye of the quarterback and figure out which way he's going to go. And, of course, that's a lot of confidence in a young sophomore quarterback to be able to make those kind of plays.
Pahulu gets the handoff, and he gets wrestled down in the backfield. We call Logan Wheeler's name a lot, and there he is again along with Tyson Miller, who got the fumble return, or I guess some people would say it was a pick six for the T-Wolves earlier. And once again, it will be third down.
Yeah, I feel bad for misleading the audience right there when I called it a pick six. I was looking down at the game notes on my phone. I looked up. The next thing I know, I see him having the ball run to the end zone. I'm like, oh, gosh, I don't know what happened right there. But good news for the Timberwolves. And another great play right there.
Lessa takes off, breaks a tackle, needs a block, gets it, down inside the 5 to the 2-yard line.
Russia with the keeper.
13 yards pickup there. And Amrine, theme of the night again. It was the T-Wolves who torched Hurricane. This time it's the Bruins who are torching the T-Wolves.
Yeah, and I'm just really impressed with his ability, Alessa's ability to run, pick up yards right there. You could tell he was kind of smelling the end zone right there. He wanted to score. He wanted to really put their team back in the game right there as he was falling for the end zone. Unfortunately, he falls about 3 yards short, set up first and goal.
From the 2, first and goal. Lessa, Poholo, did not get there. He got maybe to the half-yard line, so it'll be second down and I would say call it a spam musubi here. If that.
What was that last thing you said?
Oh boy, I know I'm going to get wrecked for this. I said fourth and a chicken katsu earlier. Now I said second down and goal. Second down and a half yard to go. Second and a spam musubi about, but looks like it's about 2 or 3 actually.
You know, I just need like a legend or a key card. Just know what how to translate these things.
Poholo the handoff. Poholo the touchdown. Messi Poholo into the end zone, and the Bruins do answer back.
Yeah, and a great play right there by Bahulu. And like we talked about earlier, this is a guy who just loves to drop his shoulder. He loves to invite the linebacker to say, yeah, try to take me down. Try to bring me down. And right there, you're not going to when it's right on the goal line right there. I mean, the defense can do all they can, but at the end of the day, that's a touchdown, 9 times out of 10. Unless you got a big linebacker right there, Bahulu wins that battle.
And it looks like we have a Timberwolf down. And so while they attend to the fallen man, we will step aside and be back after this word from UCCU and WGU on KSLSports.com.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy.
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
When Brent Brown Toyota in Orem became the #1 Toyota dealer in the nation in customer loyalty, our sales surged. That continued explosive growth leaves us without the amount of used cars to meet demand, paying unheard of prices for trade-ins, or we'll just buy your car outright at Brent Brown Toyota in Orem.
Still in an injury timeout as they are tending to an injured Timpanogos player. It is 14-9 in favor of the Timberwolves. Messi Poholo just scored the touchdown. There is 9:54 left here in the second quarter. We will step aside and be back on KSLSports.com. Welcome back to KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of Timpanogos football, presented by Brent Brown, Toyota Scion. We apologize for the long delay. We were in an extended injury timeout. And it looks like the Bruins are going to go for 2 here. With 9:54, Messi Pahulu just put it in the end zone. So from the left hash, it'll be the Mountain View Bruins going for 2 here. Interesting call, though, Amrine. Still long ways to go here in this one.
I know. With 2, I mean, it would mean a tie game with a field goal, so there is that. But so early in the game, it's not like one of those things where, like, you have to do it. If they don't make it here, they're down by 5. There's all these different scenarios with points and stuff right here. But I guess, keep that momentum going. You just scored.
So Randall Silcox, our referee, getting back into position as we are ready to go for the 2-point conversion. Lessa looking, rolling. Lessa for the corner! Got it!
2-point conversion.
Remember that call right there. Loto Lessa, the sophomore, takes it into the end zone for the 2. And just like that, Alex Amrine, we are in a 3-point game. What a gutsy call by Abe Podolska.
Yeah, and right there at the start of it, I was looking at those 2 receivers because I was thinking, okay, maybe they're running a pick play right here, or maybe they are going to, hand it into the backfield, try to score again on the ground. But the secondary was playing really tight to their men over there on the right side of the field that's closer to us. He rolled out to the pocket, and I was like, okay, it looks like he's going to run for the pylon. He was able to beat the linebackers and the rest of the secondary to it. 3-point game.
Well, Alex Amrine, if you thought this game was exciting, guess what? We've got more football on the way next week. KSL Sports Rewind will bring you live coverage of high school football next week. Join Dane Stewart and Moose Bingham for the game of the week as the Skyridge Falcons and McKay Hillstead head to Provo to take on the Timpview Thunderbirds. Coverage begins at 7 o'clock p.m. next Friday night on KSLSports.com. No one does a Friday night like KSL Sports Rewind. The City Triangle Showdown, 14-11, Timpanogos. Cuevas set to kick it away. And it is another short pooch kick headed to that sideline, and it will fall out of bounds. And again, another flag. And then some pushing and shoving off to our far side out of the camera shot. But anyway, the T-Wolves will take it at the 35.
Yeah, that's the second time they kicked it out of bounds on those little pooch kicks right there. I'm not really sure why that is. Maybe just to switch things up, catch the special teams off guard right there. But once again, this is going to set up the Timberwolves with great field position to go back and respond to that offensive drives that the Bruins just had. They're up by 3 here. They can, the way that their offense is rolling, and with that great trick play, I mean, they have all the reason in the world to go out and score again.
MJ Yosefo now goes into the shotgun. Empty backfield look for him here. On 1st and 10 from the 30. Livingston goes in motion, and they're going to swing it out to him again. And now Livingston, penalty flag goes down as he gets out of bounds close to the 40. And where the flag is thrown, I would suspect we're going to have an illegal use of the hands of some type against Logan Wheeler, number 80.
Yeah, I was curious to see right there what's going to go down. I thought I saw a block in the back right there, or like you said, maybe an illegal use of hands. We're going to hear it from the ref right here what the call is, but either way it is against. Now holding right there, yeah.
Well, we got half of it right. We got half of it. I said illegal use of the hands. You said block in the back. We're good on that front.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we just need to be more broad. Just cover all of our bases right there. It's on the offense.
It's on the offense of some type. 1st and 20 now from the 25. Livingston in the shotgun. Takes the pass, throws. That's complete. Yosefo will get the penalty yards back. And he'll get to call it about the 33-yard line. Pickup of 8.
Yeah, good job right there. Just a little quick pass to the center. Just turn around. Quick hands right there by Yosefo getting that yardage that was lost from the previous penalty.
They got almost all of it back. 9-yard gain on that. 2nd down at 11. Livingston breaking down, gets to his right, has some room to run, needs to make a man miss, and he will get pushed out of bounds into the bench. He got maybe a yard, if anything. And how about this Mountain View defense right now? Their containment on the edge really, really quick, not letting anybody get on the perimeter, not really letting anyone beat them on the perimeter so far.
Yeah, and some of my, just notes by looking at the film of this Mountain View side, and also like their ability to contain plays, to not let them have a lot of range, to condense the field. And it looks like they're doing a bit of the same right here.
Well, they were until Graf made that catch. He should have the first down. We'll see where they spot it. And it looks like it is enough to move the sticks. Well, now Randall Silcox is holding up play here. Now he'll roll the clock here. Of course, the Mountain View fans didn't exactly like the spot. Here is an option keeper here for Livingston, trying to get around the perimeter. He does. Breaks a couple of tackles. Still on his feet. Into the secondary. Livingston has a first down inside the 40. Boy, Luke Livingston looking like Marshawn Lynch right there, breaking through several tackles on that one.
Yeah, beastquake mode right there. I think I saw about 4 or 5 Mountain View players on the ground after missed tackles right there. Just could not wrap him up. Luke Livingston doing a great job smacking his hands saying, "Get out of here. I'm carrying the ball. I'm getting the first down." Now, it looks like right here it's going to be a timeout for the Mountain View side. Discuss things after that great play by Luke Livingston.
Well, we certainly had our share of Luke Livingston plays last week for the Timpanogos Timberwolves here early in the first half. We'll be back after this word from Western Governors University on KSLSports.com.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Test day's test day. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of VIEW.
8:40 left in the first quarter, or the first half rather, here at Mountain View High School. Alexander Timop alongside Alex Amrine for Timpanogos football and KSL Sports Rewind, presented by Brent Brown Toyota Scion on this pleasant Friday night from Orem, Utah. And Amrine, I warned the viewers at home before the games. I warned everybody around me before the game started. It's still the City Triangle. It's still a rivalry game, and so far we're seeing why.
Yeah, no, and there's some great, something that I love. Of course you don't want things to get out of hand, but, a little feisty, a little pushing and shoving after plays. And, when you have this back and forth like that, it just makes it a constant boxing match. Oh, it's a fumble right there.
Ball's on the turf, and Mountain View has recovered it.
Fumble. Ball recovered by Teapa. Mountain View, first down.
Tonginoa Teapa with the fumble recovery. And just like that, Mountain View back out there on offense.
Well, right there, that's a great job by the defense. We saw on the Timpanogos side of the ball, we saw Timpanogos score a touchdown. Then we saw the defense score a touchdown. Now it's Mountain View's turn. They scored a touchdown on the offensive side. Now their defense makes a good play, jumping on a loose ball. This from a botched snap right there. And this, like I was just making the comment before that play, this is what makes these kind of games great. The back and forth, the unpredictability. This is no scripted event right here.
So now Loto Alessa from the shotgun. And he'll hand off to Messi Paholo. Paholo! 40! Out of bounds inside the 40!
Hand off to Pahulu.
Messi Paholo showing you what he's made of right now. 29 yards on that one. First down, Mountain View.
And Bahula right there, we know how fast he can be in the open field, but he did a great job of following his lead blocker, that receiver. I didn't quite catch what number it was, but knowing that his blocker is going to get him more yards than he could if he just tried to out-sprint everyone else right there. So he showed his football intelligence on that play. Great gain.
That was Zachary Gibbs with the key block to spring Paholo. And now Lessa on 1st and 10 needs to step up, gets away from the pressure, puts his head down. Oh my, did Tyson Miller feel the full brunt of that one? That made Alex Amrine jump out of his seat.
Yeah, I popped up right there. I got excited about that one. Very rarely do you see the starting quarterback, lower his shoulder like that. But I love when you do. It's just the quarterback. You're like, yeah, I might need to be protected because I am one of the most valuable pieces of this team. But I'm willing to get my hands dirty. And that was a great job right there. That sets the tone for how the rest of this game might go.
Whew. Nothing much you can say here, folks. What a first half we've had. Lessa looking! Down he goes! No chance on that one. Brighton Tate again. Uncontested into the backfield. And Lessa goes down. It'll be third down and long again.
Yeah, they crashed on both sides of the offensive line right there, not giving him a lot of time. Looked like he was looking deep to his left, but just did not have enough time to even consider releasing the ball. Good job right there by Tate.
Third down and call it 13. The Bruins need to get to the 28-yard line of the Timberwolves here. Lessa drops the pass. Safety blitz coming. Now lays it off. Paholu needs to make a couple men miss. And he's going to be brought down well short of the first down. First contact made there by Timpanogos' race helm. And it looks like the Mountain View Bruins are going to bring out the punting unit here on fourth down.
Yeah, and right there, while they're not able to convert on third down, forcing the punting team to enter the field, I think that was a really good play by Lessa. Just, feeling the pressure. They brought that corner blitz again, but right before he's about to get hit, he just swung it out to the running back, who's able to at least get a few yards. At the end of the day, I think that's just a great job of showing the position of quarterback.
Austin Atwood to kick it away. Tyler Hunter back to receive the punt. It's a low snap, but Atwood gets it away. It's a good one. And it's going to bounce into the end zone. Touchback out to the 20-yard line. That's where the Timpanogos Timberwolves will take over with the football when we come back on KSLSports.com after this word from UCCU.
At UCCU,
KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of high school football presented by Heidemann & Associates, Western Governors University, and UCCU. Alexander Timlip and Alex Amrine for KSL Sports coverage of Timpanogos football. Luke Livingston, shovel passes batted into the air and incomplete. The shovel pass went off the hands of Gabe Graff and fell helplessly to the turf. And probably fortunate it did fall helplessly to the turf because there were plenty of red shirts around in the vicinity of that thing.
Yeah, they're ready to hop on that one if that looks like a loose ball. And as a linebacker, you're not always sure what exactly is going on in the back of the pocket when you have the defensive offside and screen. A loose ball is a loose ball. You're jumping on it.
Boy, there's nowhere to run there for MJ Yosefo. He gets met in the hole. First contact made there by Sam Lindsay, and now it is another third down. Livingston, and a flag. Think I know what this is.
Yeah, we've seen our fair share of flags so far tonight. We've seen one unsportsmanlike conduct, a few illegal motions. We saw, what was the other one? Holding. One thing that I've noticed so far about this game, while Timpanogos is leading, they've scored quickly. And so one thing to think about is how much rest you're giving your defensive side. While an explosive offense is great, that can be detrimental to the other side of the ball. And with, a Mountain View offense that shows how high-powered they can be, that might lead to them being a little tired.
Livingston going to take a shot down the field, and it is incomplete! Parker Harvey, the intended receiver on the post route, had to go in and out of his hands. And Timpanogos goes 3 and out, and they'll have to kick it away.
Yeah, right there on that play. One thing that's just unfortunate is as the ball is going up, it's a pretty good ball, perhaps a bit underthrown. But one of my biggest pet peeves wide receivers, and when they put their hands out when the ball still has tons of hang time left, wait for the ball to come to you and then jump and get that ball at its highest point. He didn't do that right there, and that sometimes a lot of the times leads to just fumbled balls in the arms, and you don't catch it with your hands.
It is a wobbler, caught on the run at the 50. Block at the 40, penalty flag, 2 in fact go down. One man, the kicker to beat, and going down inside the 20 for Mountain View. We'll have to pick up who the player is, but Messi Pahulu, I believe Alex Amrine is going to get called for a blindside block on Logan Wheeler, and oh my goodness, wow, you talk about I don't know exactly what to call that, but that was a nasty blindside hit.
Yeah, and we saw the player down who was on the receiving end of that hit. You never want to see that, as the Mountain View shows their good sportsmanship right there. We hope that this player is going to be okay, as they're discussing the flags at the end of it.
And Abe Poduska, as we're hearing from our cameraman Doug up here, it's Austin Heaps was on the field hopping mad. And he did not like that. And unfortunately, Amrine, I can't help but agree with him there. That's something that they're trying to get out of the game, and that was really unfortunate.
And it's hard when you're out there on the field on the defensive side, and you know that you can make a hit like that. I think it's just one of those things. It's a culture buildup of football. That big hit, you got the adrenaline going. You want to be the guy to make that kind of play. And we saw, the Mountain View side kind of hyping up Pahulu after he made that big hit. But the downside of that is injury, especially to the young players who have, so much ahead of them. It's one thing when players get hurt in the pros or even college, but, with these young men, you never want to see something like that happen to anyone. So Mountain View showing their respects right now. It looks like the coach is talking them through it.
An unfortunate scene unfolding here in Orem, Utah. We will be back after this quick word from UCCU here on KSLSports.com. Stay with us, folks.
At UCCU, we'll provide you
Five minutes and 5 seconds officially left here at the Bruin Bowl in the second quarter. Alexander Timop alongside Alex Amrine for KSL Sports Rewinds. Coverage of Timpanogos football presented by Brent Brown Toyota Scion. The City Triangle gone a little bit too far now. Gone a little bit too far now here in this one. Blindside block leads to a first down from inside the 10. Pahulu up the sideline, passes incomplete, and we have yet another flag. And if I got my hunch right, Amrine, this looks like it's a roughing the passer, and now this is where you've got to control your emotions if you're Timpanogos. If you just saw that blindside block, you have to control your emotions right now.
Yeah, I know, and of course you feel that sense of camaraderie and brothership towards your team. You want to kind of, get back at them, but play the game. That's the best way to get back at a team, is get ahead of them, get the score, and the refs as well as the coaches, get control of this game, get control of these young players' attitudes. Don't let the emotions get the best of them.
First down.
Well, things getting a little bit chippy here between these two squads. This is the City Triangle. First and 10 now from the 48-yard line following the penalty. Peterson comes in motion. Lessa to throw. Blitz coming. Throw. That's wide open! Inside the 20! Down to the 15! And brought down to Austin Atwood. That is first down inside the red zone again.
A great job right there by Austin Atwood. And I think that was number 33. That might have actually been Dustin Havea. Made a great play right there in open field down the middle. You know, one of those plays that's great when the tight end runs a post in the middle. You got split safeties. That's money every time if they got no linebackers playing in the high set.
First down and 10 now. Ball at the 14-yard line. Timpanogos having their feet held to the fire here. Lessa in the shotgun. High snap. Looks to pass. Looking. Lays it off. It is too high. Incomplete. Boy, Messi Pahulu had a lot of room to run out on that right side. And maybe it's better he didn't catch that because he probably would have gotten his clock cleaned out.
Yeah, right there. And, you know, just letting that ball get away from him. It's one of those throws out of the backfield that's almost so routine. Sometimes, that, you know, you don't really even think about it. Unfortunately, it's incomplete right there. But setting up second down, you know, they have all the options in the world right here.
Triple wide receiver to the right. Peterson lines up in the slot to the right. Lessa has Pahulu in his left hip pocket. Pressure coming. Gets away. Lessa throws to the end zone. Incomplete! In and out of the hands of Logan Baker. And if it wasn't for Tyler Hunter, that probably was 6.
Yeah, Logan Baker right there just waiting for the ball to come into him. You know, I'm always a fan of wide receivers. You know, they go full extension on their arms. Get the ball to them first before they can even make contact. But, you know, right there in the defensive side, you said it was Hunter, correct? Yeah, Hunter. He just made a great defensive play, juggling that ball. You know, as soon as that made contact, that ball was not going to be sticking to his hands.
Third down and 10 now at the 15. They're inside field goal range here for Calvin Floyd. Lessa rolls to his right. Penalty flag goes down. Lessa throws to the end zone. Pass is batted up and incomplete. There is a flag down. 2 of them, in fact. There is a flag down in the backfield. 2 of them, in fact. And I think I know what this is going to be. And if I get my hunch right, Timpanogos is going to decline the penalty.
Yeah, and I was paying attention to the play of itself. It looked like there were some extracurricular activities going on. You know, we had talked about last week. We need another word for extracurricular activities. Sounds a little too positive going down. And, you know, the running back right there, after one of the play, he was just driving one of the Timpanogos players into the ground after the play was over. And it looks like it's going to be a holding against Mountain View's side. I'm surprised there isn't a further penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct as well. It looks like the ref missed that.
Yeah, it has been getting a little chippy here, especially after the blindside block by Messi Pahulu that took out one of the gunners for Timpanogos and left Austin Heaps in a rage. And then we had a roughing the passer subsequently after that against Timpanogos. And now it looks like Randall Silcox, a referee, is going to ask Austin Heaps if he wants to take or decline the penalty. And I believe Heaps said, not taking any chances, I'm taking it. So that is going to make it third and about, I don't know, the traveling distance between Provo and Orem here on third down.
Yeah, just a little bit right there. You know, you might look at the positive right here. Now you have a wider field, more options, but at the same time, you're going to want to push them at a field goal range when it's a 3-point game like this. So I'd expect something where they're going to go deep right here, at least try to get in field goal range.
Lessa pass is incomplete. Pass was deflected and incomplete, and that's Logan Wheeler again. And if I get my marbles right on this one, I think Mountain View is either going to bring the punt unit out or they're going to just go all goes here and just see what happens here, Amrine. I don't know what you do.
Yeah, Logan Wheeler standing at 6'2", great defensive play. It's one thing to get frustrated as a quarterback when you're feeling the pressure from these defensive ends. But when they get their hands up and you can't even get your pass out, like that sense, you're like, I have the time in the pocket, but you know the ball's not going anywhere. These big defensive ends getting their hands up there, that's frustrating. It looks like Mountain View is going to reconvene in a timeout to figure out what they're going to do.
That's exactly what they're going to do with 3:56 left here in the first half. And we'll take this time to remind you that KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of high school football will continue. Alex Amrine and I next week will be on our way to Roy as the West High School Panthers kick off their region continue their region schedule with a matchup against the Roy Royals. Coverage starts next Friday, September 9th at 7 p.m. on KSLSports.com. Also streaming live on the KSL TV app. No one does a Friday night like KSL Sports Rewind. We are here, meanwhile, at the Bruin Bowl. And looky here, Amrine. We got a 49-yard field goal coming up.
Yeah, 49-yard. I'm going to be very impressed if this kicker can make it. You know, I was almost wondering with all the pooch kickoffs, I'm like, maybe the kicker doesn't have the leg, but it looks like the coach Podeska has confidence in his kicker to make this long field goal.
It's down, it's kicked, and it is going to come up well short.
Kick by Cuevas is wide.
So it goes down as a missed field goal, but on the positive side, Amrine, it basically goes down as a punt because you don't turn the ball over and you don't fumble the snap, which puts you in immediate sudden change position at midfield. So all works out there, I think, for the Bruins in the end.
Yeah, maybe that was just the thinking of the coach right there. Maybe he didn't know his kicker was going to make it, because at the end of that play right there, I was thinking that field goal missed more distance horizontally than it did laterally on the field right there. So, Timberwolves get, some decent field position at the 20. Better than a punt that's just backed up in their own 20.
And a pass is caught by Easton Bretzing out on the edge. He'll get up to the 29-yard line.
Pass complete to Bretzing.
And Timpanogos starting to go to that hyper tempo here, as we have seen so often here in this first part of the season. Livingston throws up the sideline. That's Graf. Oh, and he very nearly broke it. Messi Pahulu was the last guy to get him by the shoestring, and if he didn't, Graf might have still been running.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth right there. Pahulu making a great tackle right there, because all he could see right there was green grass.
Livingston looking wide open, and what a catch made there by Graf, the other Graf, Josh Graf. That was Gabe Graf, his brother, who made the last play. And immediately back to the line, here comes Timpanogos. Austin Heaps going with the hyper tempo. And now they're going to read option it. Livingston trying to get to the perimeter, going backwards. And he will do very well to minimize at least the loss on the play. Havea finally brought him down.
Yeah, and last week when we were watching Luke Livingston, it really didn't look like many people were up to the task of keeping up with Luke Livingston as far as speed goes. Mountain View have been up to the task thus far. And right here, I'm curious to see what they're going to go to. They did a good job expanding their playbook. I'm going to see if, I'm wondering if they're going to put MJ back at quarterback and make Luke Livingston happen. I don't know right here.
Well, we'll have to wait for that. It looks like we got some crampage. As it looks like Havea, who made the last tackle, is cramping up over on that far sideline. We should point out, Amrine, it was a very hot day coming up here. The kickoff temperature was 94 degrees, according to the National Weather Service. And I would venture, and looking at the official temperature right now, it's only 84, but on the field, it must be close to the 90s.
Yeah, I know. When I walked outside to, head over to this game, I was thinking, oh boy, this is going to be a hot one. Thankfully, it's cooled down a little bit, but it's been a hot last few weeks here in Utah. The looks like the weather forecast still shows hot days next week, maybe tapering off at the end of the week, but we might have another hot one on our hands next Friday.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, there is a heat advisory going into effect tomorrow afternoon at noon. According to the National Weather Service, high temperatures are supposed to get into the triple digits. Very unusual for this time of the year in Utah, but as Amrine said, according to the National Weather Service, it looks like the heat wave is supposed to ease up next week, potentially around Thursday. And so, while they tend to Havea, we will step aside, take a break, and come back after this word from Brent Brown Toyota Scion on KSLSports.com.
When Brent Brown Toyota in Orem became the #1 Toyota dealer in the nation in customer loyalty, our sales surged. That continued explosive growth leaves us without the amount of used cars to meet demand. paying unheard of prices for trade-ins, or we'll just buy your car outright at Brent Brown Toyota in Orem.
Alvea is the cramping Mountain View player being helped off the field. He'll go get some fluids back in him. Again, it's a very hot night here in Orem. Alexander Timov, Alex Amrine for Timpanogos Football and KSL Sports Rewind, presented by Brent Brown Toyota Scion. 14-11 our score between Timpanogos and Mountain View. Mountain View scored the first points on their opening drive with a field goal, and then Timpanogos proceeded to score the next 14 points. And then Mountain View came back with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to make it a 3-point game. Here at 2nd and 12, we pick it up as Livingston, showing off his Patrick Mahomes boost, throws into coverage. It's intercepted! Intercepted!
Pass intercepted by Hopoato.
Intercepted by Hopoato! Another takeaway for the Mountain View Bruins, their third of the game, and that's is probably one that should have been thrown, and another flag for excessive celebration.
Yeah, we were talking about how high the emotions are in this game. You know, we were talking during the break about how it always is kind of chippy, but once there was we saw that illegal hit on one of the punt returns, and that kind of just woke everyone up, as you told me, Alex, and it's so easy to just, never really even think about the penalties. And, that's one of those things you got to watch. And in a game like this, if you can get your emotions in control, you see the coach is not pleased with that call right there. He's not pleased with the call. He's just not pleased with his players, letting the emotions get to the best of them. While it is fun to, have that kind of attitude, it's going to cost your team big.
Yeah, Abe Podusco was not happy with, I believe it was Teo Oppo who committed the penalty. Bob Wagner, I know what Bob Wagner back at UH would have done in those days. He would have grabbed your neck and held on for dear life onto you. He would have been really angry.
Yeah, my favorite coach, Bill Belichick, he's also one of those guys that does not take those, those kind of plays. Think about the team. Do not think about yourself. That's a selfish play right there if you get one of those penalties on you.
Calvin Floyd with the catch off the play action from Loto Alessa. And so another opportunity here for the Mountain View Bruins as the clock stops to move the chains. With just over 2 minutes to go, it's a 14-11 game in favor of the Timpanogos Timberwolves. I don't know why I have the Bruins on my head all of a sudden. Messi Pahulu once again the lone setback in the shotgun. 2 wide receivers to the near side. Lessa looking, throws high, and it's incomplete. Looking for Floyd again on the play action, and that play fake was so good, our cameraman Doug just got faked out.
And Doug's a professional, so not many quarterbacks can do that, right? And right there, that was a good job, a good throw. It was a bit high, but he had 2 people crashing down on him, Lissa, and so that was a good job, a good ball. Unfortunately, just a bit high. I think that could have gone the distance, honestly, if he had some speed behind him.
Yeah, it looked like there was nobody back. It was a 0 coverage. On 2nd down and 10, it's a handoff to Pahulu. Pahulu breaking tackles, and he will get over the 30 to about the 30, call it the 32-yard line. It'll be up a 3rd down and a manageable, let's say, 4-ish for the Bruins. Bruins have no more timeouts left, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. Timberwolves still have all 3. Pahulu will get it again. And he's going to go absolutely nowhere. And with 1:25 to go, it looks like the Timberwolves are going to burn a timeout and see if they can't get the ball back.
Yeah, and despite the fact that they have the lead, they're going to want to get the ball back here. We know, as we talked about earlier, with an explosive offense, minute 20, that's all you really need to be able to score here. And going into that second half with that kind of momentum, that would then put them up ahead by a full 10 points, what they originally had over this Bruins side. I'm interested to see what the Bruins are going to call right here. It does look like they're going to punt. I have to imagine so. Yeah, they are going to punt right here. So I'm interested to see what MJ Yosefo, what the Graff brothers, and what Luke Livingston have in store for us.
It has been a very interesting first half. As we hear the familiar strain of popcorn popping on the apricot tree, starting up here at Mountain View High. .125 and counting, and we have yet another flag. Well, all that popcorn popping, Amrine, led to a false start.
Well, maybe we can get some of this offense popping right here. One thing I just realized, we had us scoring quite a bit. We had that that great 8-point drive by Mountain View right there, but both offenses kind of stalling out. Good plays on both sides of the defense. We've seen some turnovers as we get a pretty good punch right here with Livingston on the return.
Livingston to the right side, gets a block, midfield, cuts upfield to the 45, and he'll go down at about call it the 44-yard line. So with 1:11 officially left here at the Bruin Bowl, 1:09 left on our clock here. This is going to be some pretty good field position to start the drive here, Amrine.
That's what I was thinking right there. Great job by Luke Livingston. I think Luke Livingston, him not only just being, sometimes the quarterback, sometimes the receiver, he has some extra motivation. Okay, I want to get myself in good position here to score. He's not just thinking about, the team, as that's a great thing to do. He's like, I want to get in good position right here and get myself a touchdown.
Well, he's in the shotgun in an empty backfield. 5 wides in the set. Livingston throws. That is dropped. Off the hands of Easton Bretzing. And let me tell you, Amrine, I don't know. Both these offenses are moving the ball. They just look sort of stuck.
Yeah, right here, it looks like the defenses have figured each other out, and so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of halftime adjustments we see at the start of the third quarter.
Yosefo gets the handoff. He'll be brought down. Uh-oh. He got brought down, and that's not good. MJ Yosefo got his knee rolled up on, and this is not good at all. Oh, my. Amrine, he's walking, but if there is one player you cannot lose right now, if you're Timpanogos, there it is, number 4.
Yeah, no, Yosefo is one of those guys. He's just a Swiss Army knife. He can really do it all. And, you always hate to see that when you just get your knee rolled under a player like that, all that pressure coming underneath. That happens a lot in football, but all it takes is one time for, a bad injury like an ACL or, blown knee, something like that to happen.
On 3rd down and 8, back we go. Livingston rolls to his right, gets out of the pocket, makes a man miss, makes another couple of men miss, and he's going to get the first down. What a play by Luke Livingston. My word.
Yeah, with 30 seconds on the clock, you got to get this offense going right there, and it's always kind of, gutsy with the quarterback scramble like that, because not only do you risk not getting anything on the play, but you run a lot of time off the clock.
27 and rolling, 31 on our game bug. The game bug is unofficial. Livingston again going to take off, got plenty of space, and a hop out of bounds. Out about the 25-yard line. Clock reads 18 seconds left officially. Apologies, have to reset our clock here for a second. And again, we're talking out of one mic, folks. Livingston got Graff going down the middle. If he sees him, he's going to throw. He's got Josh Graff open off his hands, incomplete. He had Gabe Graff wide open up the sideline, Amrine, but it just was a little too much air under it.
Yeah, and I'm not exaggerating right now. I have my hands on the back of my head. That was such a missed opportunity right there. It was a great throw by Luke Livingston. I mean, you can make the argument that maybe he was a bit overthrown, but Gabe Graff right there, I talked about it earlier. I think it was one of the other Timberwolves players started putting their hands out before the ball was even there. Wait for the ball to come to you, and there when you have anyone near you, you don't need to high point the ball. Just let the ball fall right in the breadbasket and get those points before halftime. Missed chance right there.
It's been that kind of a story in the first half. Well, coming up at the break, Alex Amrine and I will have thoughts for the first half and analysis of what each team needs to do to play on to victory in the second half. That's coming up at the half. We also like to remind you that KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of high school sports doesn't end when the game ends. You can follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at KSL Sports Rewind for more interviews and more analysis from Dusty and Dane, and, of course, the power rankings and the news of the week. That's only on the one home, the one streaming partner that you'll ever need for UHSAA football, basketball, and spring sports, KSLSports.com, the new KSL Sports Rewind. And we'd like to welcome in those listening in on the radio tonight on 97.5 FM and 1280 AM, KSL Sports The Zone, to Dusty Litster, Jeff Hansen on the KSL Friday Night Red Zone. With 10.5 seconds, it's 3rd down and 5. Iosefo now from the shotgun. Free runner coming. Throws for Livingston. Caught! Inside the 10. What a catch!
Iosefo complete.
Now they need to get up to the line and spike it. And they're going to run the field goal unit out here. Or are they? It's a first down. And Timpanogos, I believe, had one more timeout, and they did take it. I was panicking for a second there, Amrine, because I thought they had no more timeouts, but they're lucky they had one. But, again, what a catch by Livingston.
Yeah, I think both of us lost track of how many timeouts they had, because that's one of those plays, the great play to set you up if you have a timeout, but we were both thinking, oh, what are they going to do? They're going to have to get that field goal unit or get that offense lined up really, really quick right there. Thankfully, they have a chance right here to score, and I'm the kind of guy, I want to get a touchdown. It's always disappointing when you go down the field and get no points, but a field goal, that's something. But when you can get 7 points on the board, that just is so much for the whole mentality of the team. And, as they're coming out right here, it looks like Luke Livingston is coming out again, so it looks like we're going to see them have one more crack at it. They might even have time to make one more play, maybe have 1 second on the clock and get a quick field goal.
Remember, Timpanogos got the kickoff to start the game. They will be on the defense to start the second half. 4.6 on the clock here at the Bruin Bowl. 3 seconds left on our graphic. No timeouts either side. Livingston rolling. Livingston throws! Touchdown! Timpanogos! Easton Britzing in the end zone as time expires. That is how you do a buzzer beater.
No, and Easton Britzing, I said that he was the X-Factor guy. He's run that route once before earlier in the game where he came across the middle. Unfortunately, it was just a missed throw by Luke Livingston earlier. That time, they connect on the money. They know it works. Go back to it. He's a guy you can rely on. Great job right there. That's going to be a huge momentum booster for this team as they go into the locker room.
What a first half in the City Triangle game. Harris Reed for the extra point. And yes, it's good.
Point after by Paris is good. At the half.
And we have hit halftime here at the Bruin Bowl with the Timpanogos Timberwolves leading their rival, the Mountain View Bruins, 21-11. And Alex Amrine, what a first half we just had.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal first quarter and started the second quarter. The offense kind of stalled out a little bit. I think they must have heard us. We were saying, hey, they haven't scored in a while. Then the Timberwolves went right down there. Great catch by Luke Livingston to set them up first and goal, and they eventually were able to punch it in by a great job by Easton Britzing on the near pylon right there to put them ahead. The score now 21-11 going into the locker room with a 10-point lead at the half. Of course, they're going to be able to prep their defense, figure out what kind of schemes they're going to want to do to continue to cause this Mountain View Bruins team to kind of stall an offense that they have the last few drives.
Whew, Amrine, we need to get a breather. That was quite an interesting first half, but an exciting one. I told the viewers at home Don't expect this to be a blowout. We've got a battle on our hands right now in the City Triangle.
Yeah, I'm excited for the second half. This has been certainly an interesting game. While last week's game was enjoyable, and any time with you, Alex, is a great time, but I have to say this one's been my favorite of the first two games so far this week. This one's been super entertaining, and I'm looking forward to another half of football.
You're trying to butter me up again, aren't you, buddy?
Hey, man, you're my friend, man.
Well, I guess. All right. Well, Ryan and I will take a break across the network. We like to remind you KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of football is presented by Western Governors University and Heidemann and Associates. Our score at the half is Timpanogos 21, Mountain View 11. The second half of the City Triangle game will be after these messages when Ryan and I return for first half thoughts, highlights, and the start of the third quarter. This is Timpanogos football on KSL Sports Rewind, presented by Brent Brown Toyota Scion, and you are watching this presentation of the City Triangle Showdown.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit
Salt Lake Running Company is inspiring our community to move with purpose, embrace adventure, and consciously connect to their bodies. Exercise is essential, now more than ever. Take control of the chaos and make time for you. From the gym to the trail, SLRC can help you find the focus to define your finish line. Visit one of our 5 locations along the Wasatch Front or shop online at slrc.com.
When Brent Brown Toyota in Orem became the #1 Toyota dealer in the nation in customer loyalty, our sales surged. That continued explosive growth leaves us without the amount of used cars to meet demand, paying unheard of prices for trade-ins, or we'll just buy your car outright at Brent Brown Toyota in Orem.
Welcome back, everyone. KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of high school sports continues. This is KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of Timpanogos football presented by Brent Brown Toyota Scion. Not talking through one mic anymore. Alexander Timop alongside Alex Amrine here at the Bruin Bowl at Mountain View High School. So Amrine, 21-11 our score at the half. It is shaken out the way we thought it was. It's been a chippy, physical, and it has been a very exciting second game of the City Triangle rivalry so far.
You know, if I were to not have seen anything and just seen the halftime score coming into this game, I probably would have, this is the predicted score I would have imagined. But I think the play itself has been a little bit out of book. We've seen a little bit of everything from both sides. Great offense and defense for both teams. One thing I'm hoping to see a bit more of is from Lotoa Lissa, a bit more of that deep ball. I think he just had some really pretty balls next week, and maybe that's just for my own personal enjoyment. Obviously, it looks like they can move the ball well, but like the scoreboard indicates, they are down 10, so maybe that deep ball is something that they're going to have to implement. But the Timberwolves secondary, I've been really impressed with how well they've closed down on the wide receivers and the tight ends for the Bruins. Very few times have the Bruins, got open. There was one big play down the middle, but other than that, it's really been, Lissa running the rock or giving the ball to their pair of running backs out there. And Timberwolves, as we've seen them do, they're always just such a good team. They have so many talented players to rely on, so they have many options to go to. I think it's more Mountain View. The task, obviously, down 10. The task is on their shoulders.
Now time to look ahead to what we got on tap here in the second half. Our keys to victory presented by UCCU. Now here, Alex Amrine. Alex, what do both teams have to do to continue on here in the second half? Because we know that this Timpanogos side is going to have to go on the defense for the first about maybe 5 or 6 minutes or so of the third quarter. What do they got to do?
Yeah, like I just mentioned, continue to play aggressive in the secondary, but as well, we know how well this Mountain View team likes to run the ball and how much, Lessa likes to run the ball as well when the play breaks down. He's really good job, pulling the rabbit out of the hat, making something out of nothing. So I'm excited to see what he has in store. I think that one thing they have to do is just contain him. Make sure that he's in the pocket a lot. As I said, their secondary is doing well, so maybe it gives them a bit extra time to throw the ball, but the secondary seems to handle it well enough. And on the on the Mountain View side, I think for the defense, I was really impressed with one of the interceptions they had. A lot of times I've seen Luke Livingston's success throwing the ball come as he kind of rolls out of the pockets. He waits for the secondary, the linebackers to crash to come onto him, and that opens up a receiver. They did a great job on one of those plays where it looked like the same thing was going to happen as I just described. Luke Livingston just waiting out the middle of the field until a receiver got open, but they had one of their strong safeties, I forget who it was, just crashed and get a great interception. We need more of that play, just first to the ball kind of mentality on the defensive side.
As we said, Mountain View will get the football to start the second half, and the play clocks, Alex Amrine, that were not operating for much of the first half, they are now back, thankfully, here at Mountain View High School. This is just one of 5 games across KSLSports.com. As we told you, our other games going across the network tonight, Dane Stewart and Moose Bingham have Viewmont against Provo, just down the road from here. Timpview against Bingham with JT Wistersill, Brian Brown, Alex Naples, and Nate Carter have Cypress taking out West. And Rigby against American Fork is currently on with Mark Winterton and Jake Hatch. And we'd like to also welcome in those of you listening in on the radio on KSL Sports 97.5 FM and 1280 AM The Zone. Listening to our Friday Night Red Zone, you're listening to the voices of Alexander Timolip and Alex Amrine here at Mountain View High School for the second leg of the City Triangle. A triangular rivalry between Orem, Timpanogos, and Mountain View.
Yeah, and a quick note I want to make before kickoff. I'm interested to see kind of what the temperament of both these teams are. We saw tempers were kind of flaring at the end of that first half. I'm sure both coaches want to make sure that the penalties go down as well. Keep this, a competitive matchup, but, make sure that no one on either side of the ball gets hurt. So that'll be something to watch for at the start of the third quarter.
Harris Reed is set to kick it away. Settle back in and watch, folks. As Harris Reed sends us away, the kickoff will go through the end zone. It will be a touchback out to the 20-yard line, and that is where Lotoalesa and the Mountain View Bruins will kick off the second half.
Yeah, and I've got a sweet spot for special teams people. I mean, kickers and punters, they're people too. And that Harris, he's got quite the leg right there. That was just a line drive all the way into the back of the end zone for the touchback. I enjoy just watching that. I was watching him take some snaps and punts before the game, and the absolute hang time that he had on some of his punts. It's just fun to watch. He has a pretty punch.
I hate to say it, Amrine, but being a kid from Hawaii, Hawaii kickers can only wish they could kick that far. Sometimes the kickoffs don't even make it past the 20-yard line on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, maybe it's the soccer player in me that just enjoys kicking so much.
Yeah, probably it is. So Lotoalesa back to work. Messi Pahulu in the backfield. And Lessa will hand it off to Pahulu on the first play. And he gets ridden down from behind. First contact made there by Timpanogos' Joe Vance on the play. Picked up maybe 3.
And a good job by Vance right there, keeping his head up. It's super easy to keep your head down when you're pushing up against the offensive line, but he did a good job keeping his head on the swivel and seeing the running back go right by him to take him down before he got even more yards.
Triple wide receiver lines up to the left. Lotoalesa with Messi Pahulu in the backfield on 2nd down and 7. Pahulu picks up a blitzer. Lessa gonna roll to his right, takes a block, and he gets out of bounds at about the 30-yard line, and we have yet another flag on the near sideline. Now, it's going to be interesting, Amrine, to see what this flag is. It could be a block in the back, or it could be a personal foul for a late hit out of bounds, but the way they're pointing, it looks like this could be, yeah, it is against Mountain View for a block in the back.
Yeah, right at the end of that play, as Lesa was running out of bounds, Dustin Havea came and just dropped his shoulder, and it didn't look like it was an out of bounds hit or something, but one of those things just kind of unnecessary, not really needed as the ball was already going out of play.
Yeah, not a smart penalty.
Illegal block, Mountain View.
So the illegal block in the back will take it to a 2nd and 10. As that probably would have been a first down. Just on our way here in the third quarter, 21-11 in favor of Timpanogos. Alexander Timolap, Alex Amrine here at the Bruin Bowl here in Orem, Utah. On 2nd down and 10, block for Lessa, throws, that is incomplete, in over the head of the intended receiver, Peterson, and it will be 3rd down again. As we have another stoppage. Not sure what this is.
The ref's trying to figure something out here, but kind of keeping the trend of the night. Not sure exactly, as it looks like we've got our head ref talking to Lesa in the backfield.
Maybe another equipment issue? Could be. And yeah, looks like my hunch is right. That was an equipment issue, but they're waving it off. Or are we having another play clock issue?
I haven't heard that whistle yet from that center ref to get the play clock.
And now the play clocks are off again. So it looks like we're going to go old-fashioned again, as it's going to be kept on the field of play. So 3rd down and 10 from the 20. Lessa takes the snap, throws, it's intercepted! And that is going to be a touchdown for the Timberwolves! Jaden Robinson with the pick and the 6! What a start to the second half for the Timberwolves!
Yeah, Jaden Robinson right there. It was a great read, but also, too, it's not like he had to move too much for him. Lessa, just not really seeing that linebacker. It's hard when you're looking through levels of progression. When you're just looking at receivers, sometimes when you're zeroing in on him, all you really see is his red shirt. It's unfortunate. You can kind of, I'm trying to think of it right here in your peripheral vision. You don't really see everyone else in the other team's jersey right there, and that led to an easy pick 6 for the Timberwolves.
Harris Reed now for the extra point. Good snap, good hold. The kick is good. And just like that, with 10:53 left here in the third quarter, the Timpanogos Timberwolves have taken a 28-11 lead. We'll be back after this quick word from Brent Brown Toyota Scion on KSLSports.com.
When Brent Brown Toyota in Orem became the #1 Toyota dealer in the nation in customer loyalty, our sales surged. That continued explosive growth leaves us without the amount of used cars to meet demand, paying unheard of prices for trade-ins, or we'll just buy your car outright at Brent Brown Toyota in Orem.
Well, turnovers have been the story of the game so far, but one team has been converting them into points, one hasn't. Alexander Timolip, Alex Amrine here for Timpanogos Football and KSL Sports Rewind, presented by Brent Brown. Toyota Scion, 28-11 is your score. Jaden Robinson with the pick six just a few moments ago. And Amrine, we just talked about it. The Timpanogos needed something to go their way to start the second half. That is definitely one thing I'm sure Austin Heaps definitely wanted to see out of his team.
Yeah, and I think, at the end of the day, while scoring on offense is almost rudimentary, it's routine. Defense, when they score touchdowns, that shows just, I guess, the strength of a team. They showed it right there. That's now their second defensive touchdown of the game. Now their offensive defense have the same amount of points scored.
Reed kicks off. Once again, this will be a touchback. And it goes right through the uprights. They should, in Canadian football, there's a rule where if it goes through the end zone, it's a single point. They should put that rule in American football too.
Yeah, no, that'd be great to think. I remember a while ago, maybe you remember this game as a 49ers fan. I can't remember who it was against. Maybe the New Orleans Saints. I remember they have something called a free kick in the NFL. I don't know where else that rule is implemented, but it was back when Jim Harbaugh was the coach for the 49ers. And they basically, it's some weird obscure rule where you can score points off of a kickoff. It goes to the uprights. I don't know what it was. I'll have to look it up again. But that's what your comment made me just think of right there. But there I go again, getting excited about kicks.
No, you'd be right. It's a rule that's buried in there in the NFL rulebook, Alex Amrine. It is the fair catch kick rule utilized by Jim Harbaugh, and you'd be referencing the Thursday night football game between the 49ers and the then St. Louis Rams on September the 4th of 2013. I remember that game very well. It didn't make it. Barely even cleared the 10-yard line. Penalty flag goes down as Lessa throws. It's nearly picked. And another penalty flag goes down, and I think I know what this is.
Peterson incomplete. There's a flag on the play.
We talked about, how tensions are going to go. It doesn't look like they've lessened any bit right here. One of those things too. Not only is it so good for your team when you score a touchdown on the defensive side of the ball, but you got to go right back out there. You're going to say, okay, all right, we scored a touchdown against you once. Let's see if we can do it again, or at least throw you to the ground. We'll see who the penalty's on. Looks like it's on the Mountain View side.
Yep, illegal motion called against the offense, and a second one for holding, as I suspected. So back it up 10 yards. The pass, though, is incomplete. Austin Heaps is coming out saying, or talking to the line judge if he wants to take it, and he will. And where they are right now, Amrine, that is the spot where that fair catch kick, that 71-yard attempt by Phil Dawson, came up. And Austin Pettis tried to return it on that infamous Thursday night at the Edward Jones Dome, as Pahula gets the swing out of the backfield, and he gets run over. Another flag. Theme of the night.
Pass complete to Pahulu. There's a flag on the play.
Jeez.
What else is new?
It's turning into a laundry sale here. Another holding. And the Bruins are just getting backed up closer to their goal line. And I don't think this is the start you wanted if you're head coach Abe Poduska. I mean, you were down by 3. I know the touchdown was a bit of a demoralizer, but now you got the pick 6, and now you're backed up close to the shadow of your own end here.
And this really is the epitome of just, kicking yourself in the leg. When you get these penalties right here, when you're down by, 17 points, 3-score game, you can't be doing this. You need to have a clean setup.
Penalty was declined by Austin Heaps on second down and a mile. Lessa back to throw, gets out of the pressure, now throws. It's into the arms of a ineligible receiver, and If that foul occurred in the end zone, Alex Amrine, I believe that might be a safety.
Yeah, we'll see where, that ref decided if he was in the end zone yet when he threw the ball, as you see some of the Timpanogos players signaling for the safety, trying to persuade the refs.
It should be. I mean, Lessa was in the end zone in the grasp, and he threw it into the arms of an ineligible receiver. He threw it into the arms of one of his offensive linemen.
Well, that would be back-to-back drives of the defense scoring if the ref is making the call.
Jackson Spieth was the one that caught the ball, and that occurs a loss of down penalty, so it is not a safety. But in rough translation, loss of down for the viewers at home means loss of right to repeat the down. And so you don't get to repeat second down, it goes automatically to the third, and now you're at third and, you're at third and a mile now. You're on the 1 yard line, and I deeply suspect you run this football here, don't you, Amrine?
Yeah, right here. All you got to do is get some breathing room for your punter. Don't try to do anything crazy. Some of the Mountain View players are trying to figure out who's going to be on the field. We see number 17 right there running off.
Yeah, they're all over the place right now. Again, there's no play clocks operative here inside the Bruin Bowl. Lessa from the end zone. They're just going to try to pick up as much as they can with Peterson. He goes nowhere. Nash twice. Dropped into the turf immediately, but it's 3 and out.
7-yard gain.
And things might be starting to unravel a bit for the Bruins.
Yeah, and if anything is a consolation, at least they didn't get the safety right there. Of course, that was a total drive killer with the the penalties, back-to-back penalties. But at least the defense didn't score again right there. Resulting in the offense getting the ball, because safety is a great thing about that. It can end up being a 9, or if they go for 2, a 10-point play essentially.
So Austin Atwood to punt it away to Tyler Hunter, who's standing back close to midfield. It's a low snap. And this is a dead shank. Everybody get the heck out of the way. And that is going to die at about the 24-yard line. And it just goes from bad to worse for the Mountain View Bruins. A 23-yard punt.
Yeah, the punter right there, perhaps he's feeling the pressure. Sometimes, the punting is one of those positions where you have to make sure that you're doing every little thing right in order to have a good, graceful punt down the field with plenty of hang time. It's got a good spiral on it. But, if you get flustered, it can deeply affect your punt. And it looks like that's what happened right there. Really, really bad punt, setting up, the Timberwolves in great position right here to dictate this game as they have so far in the third.
Bretsing lines up at the shotgun now with Livingston, a triple wide receiver in tandem to the right. Wheeler, the lone receiver, on the left. It's a handoff to Bretsing. At the 20. Breaks a tackle. 10. 5. And the ball comes out! And that is going to be a touchback!
Handoff to Bretsing.
Boy, Easton Bretsing looked like he had the touchdown, Amrine, but credit the Mountain View Bruins. They didn't give up. They forced a takeaway. Wow.
Yeah, good heads-up play right there. I mean, I'm not sure if they were trying to get the ball out right there, just taking down before he, hit the pylon for the score. And Bretsing, I got to hand it to him. That was quite the effort play. But, towards the end of that, he started, getting the 10-yard line. I was running, don't try to do too much here. And it looked like he just did try to do a bit too much, resulting in a touchback. The Bruins offense getting back out here, getting another shot at it. You've got to make something happen right here. This is literally manna from heaven. You got to do something good as you're 17 points down. Get some points on the board, at the very least a field goal. Show them that you're still in this game.
We should point out, Mountain View is winning the turnover battle right now. They have had 4 takeaways in this game, and Timpanogos is at 2. The problem is Mountain View is not converted and turned them into scores. So they need something right here. Lessa from the gun, hands to Pahulu on the sweep. He goes nowhere. Right, and Tage Lickster and the boys all over there to swarm him.
And the Timberwolves side showing that they have the answer to stop Pahulu after he had such a dominant first half. We were giving him so many praises and accolades for not being tackled easily. He was wrapped up there just by one leg as he headed out of bounds, setting them up for second and long.
Second down and 12 now from the 18-yard line. Timpanogos is showing blitz. Peterson goes in motion, and here they come. And the swing pass to Peterson with a block. And Peterson gets ripped down at the 20-yard line. What a play made there by Timpanogos' Marley Yosefo, MJ's brother, with the stop. And it's third down.
Yeah, and right there, that's one of the few times they've targeted Bo Peterson so far in this game. And, he was my X factor for the team going in. He's a great slot receiver. I've been keeping my eye on him in some of these routes. He's speedy across the middle. They go to him right there, fortunately for no gain, but I'm curious to see if they will go back to him again.
Clock under 8 minutes. High snap. Lessa looks, steps up, got some room, and he gets brought down from behind. What a play by Brighton Tate with the shoestring tackle. And we've been singing the praises of Latoya Lessa and what he can do with his legs there, Emrine. And if Brighton Tate doesn't get him, he's probably still running.
Yeah, and one of these things, not only is it late in early in the third quarter rather, but the second half, fatigue starts to set in. In the first half, you have the energy behind you. You're not going to get taken down as easily as in the second half. But as well, with all these penalties, that means that you're just standing around as much. Your legs aren't as warm, and I think that might have been part of the reason that Lessa was taken down so easily on that play.
Penalty flag goes down as Livingston. His knee didn't go down, and so he's brought down, and now there's a flag back here. Atwood got hit, and Randall Silcox, a referee, threw the flag. Now then, is this going to be a 5-yard penalty, or is this going to be a roughing the kicker penalty? Remember, if you hit the kicking leg, it's only a 5-yard penalty, Amrine, but if you hit the plant leg, then it's a 15-yard penalty, and from my vantage point, I'm not going to speculate, but I think this might only be a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, you had better views on that. My eyes are focused on Luke Livingston on the receiving end of the punt right there. We saw the live ball fly go onto the field, and Luke Livingston, it was, as you were saying, we didn't know if his knee was down, and he kind of just stood there as he was wrapped up before the whistle was called, so I didn't exactly have my eyes on the punt, so we need to hear what the ref has to say.
So Abe Poduska's coming out, and he's talking with Randall Silcox, our referee, and from the signal we're getting, I think I called it, Amrine, it is only going to be a 5-yard penalty.
That's a record relief for the Timberwolves right there.
Yeah, it is. That they got away with one. So it looks like it is going to be only a 5-yard running into the kicker penalty. And it will be left at that. Running into the kicker is the call. 5 yards is declined. As Abe Poduska not willing to. Abe Poduska's not willing to. Not willing to take the risk of go for it on fourth down. Still a long way to go in this game.
Yeah, no, still plenty of football. As we saw last week, despite the Timberwolves lead, we saw Hurricane, continue to play good, and they scored late. It was kind of a shootout at the end of that game. Timberwolves were just ahead by quite a bit, so the end score didn't result the fight that it truly was. The Timberwolves get the ball right here, start the drive.
Livingston from the shotgun. 28-11 our score. Livingston takes it to the right side, needs a block, gets to the perimeter, puts his head down, and he'll be brought down after a pickup of close to 5.
One thing that I was just thinking about, how successful this Timberwolves team has been so far. 3-0, if the trend continues, they'll improve to 4-0, 1-0 in region play. And, they're outshooting quarterback Chase Riggs. So I'm interested to see, depending on how that shoulder injury heals up, how good they're going to be once he gets back in action.
Livingston on 2nd down and 5. Pass is caught, but not for a big gain there. Josh Graff made the catch, and it'll be a 3rd down and call it maybe about 3.
Yeah, right there, they ran a little scat route, how their outside receiver go up, pulling the corner up, creating a little bit of outside space right there for a good pickup, make it 3rd and very manageable.
And there's another flag. And that's going to back up Timpanogos. I mean, you could have picked up several guys for that false start.
Yeah, one of my favorite calls is when, like in the NFL.
Yep. I know where you're going. False start, everybody except the center. No, they're going to call it offside. Wow. Oh, my. So it looks like
Offside.
So it looks like there was contact made in the neutral zone. Now remember, in high school football, as Dusty Lister so well pointed out to me earlier, there is no get back in high school football once you hit offside. So that results in a first down and a big penalty at that. Livingston looking, still looking, gonna take off and run. He will get back to the line of scrimmage, get knocked out of bounds after, well, call it maybe a fingernail yardage gain.
Yeah, not a whole lot right there. He had some options going deep. It looks like he had, the outside guys actually come in a little curl routes, and then the inside guys ran some wheel routes. And it looked like it could have been something interesting, but the pressure just got to me. He had to roll out to get a minimal gain.
6:05 left on our clock. Here's the handoff to Brett Singh to the right side, and Brett Singh with a bit of room. He'll get brought down after a pickup of maybe 5. As the clock rolls under 6 to go here in the third quarter. Our only score in the quarter so far, a pick 6 by Robinson for the Timberwolves. On third down, Livingston, quick screen, passes, batted up and dropped. It was intended for Josh Graff, and you're kind of in no man's land here, Amrine. Darned if you do, darned if you don't. I think Timpanogos is going for it.
Yeah, right here. I think it could really go either way, because as we've seen with the Bruins offense kind of stalling out, you can pin them back and, get the ball back pretty easily if the trend continues. But, why not go for it right here? You're up 17, set the tone of the game as you have done so far on offense. We'll see what they go to.
Got to be careful of the jump here, too. Livingston trying to see if the Bruins would bite.
Yeah, no one in the backfield right here. Let's see if they do one of those rollouts.
Or it could be a quarterback draw. You never know. And Austin Heaps says, no thank you. So they'll talk it over. 5:54 officially left here in the third quarter. Our coverage of KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of Timpanogos football will continue after this word from Western Governors University.
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Test day's test day. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
Tests on your time. Courses on your time. Graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of VU.
KSL Sports Rewind is proud to have Heidemann and Associates in Western Governors University as our sponsors. You can make 2022 the year of you with Western Governors University. Go to wgu.edu to sign up for your chance to receive a $2,500 online-only scholarship with Western Governors University. Get your degree on your own time at your own pace. Online accredited affordable. That's the power of the University of U. That is WGU. Alexander Timobalik Amrine here at the Bruin Bowl. 4th and call it 5. From the 37, and they will run a play. Livingston rolls to his left. Plenty of room to run. He's going to have the first down and plenty more as he gets brought down from behind at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, right there on that play. I think that one thing that makes Luke Livingston so dangerous, especially when you send your receivers deep like that, is going to create so much space in the middle of the field that we've seen thus far. We started a lot last week on some of the quarterback draws as they line up right here.
Livingston takes it himself on the keeper this time, and he gets whacked right at the 25-yard line, but not before he has another big pickup there. Seth Johnson finally brought him down, but not before he picked up close to another 20 yards. So now a handoff to Brett Singh to the left side. Stiff arms a man at the 20, at the 15, at the 10, and he gets brought down right at the 10.
Handoff to Brett Singh.
Eventually bringing him down there. Was Hunter Hopoate. But not before he picked up another first down. And again, it will be 1st and goal for the Timberwolves at about it'll be 2nd down and long. 3 call it. And we're going to have another timeout as I think Abe Poduska has seen enough of this.
Timeout, Mountain View.
Want to bring you up to date on some scores we are watching from across the state tonight. Our 4 games, of course. Our 4 scores we are watching tonight across our network. Viewmont against Provo, Timpview, Bingham, Cypress, West, and Rigby, American Fork. Bring you up to date on those real quick. Viewmont leading Provo right now 28-18. Timpview leading Bingham 21-16. And Rigby, Idaho is leading over American Fork 7-3 at the intermission. And Alex Amrine, I gotta tell you, the lineup of next week's games is looking pretty tasty. I mean, you got Highland, Arizona against Lone Peak coming in next week, a battle of state champs, as Livingston rolls to his right on second and long, throws wide open, incomplete to Gabe Graff, who was standing so alone he needed counseling back there.
Yeah, and Luke Livingston's got to be kicking himself in the foot after that one. While he was running out of the pocket, it's not like, the pressure broke down. It was a roll out to the right, and his receiver's open, no one near him. Take a second to plant your feet. That's an easy score right there.
We've seen a lot of that tonight. But I guess, Alex Amrine, that does come with the territory of not having a true quarterback in there. And it's good to see MJ Iosefo back in after what we thought was a pretty scary injury late in the first half. Blitz coming on third and short. Livingston, the keeper's got the first down and more, and he'll be brought down close to the 2-yard line. Eventually brought down there by Atwood, but it'll be first and goal here as Timpanogos wants to go quick. Triple wide receiver to the left. Livingston in the gun. Iosefo at his left hip pocket. It's a handy Iosefo. He will go absolutely nowhere. And he gets swallowed up. Net at the line of scrimmage there by Tungin Tail Uppa.
Iosefo, you're hoping that his first play back into action, he's able to, really see some action and hopefully get into the score right there, get his mindset back into the game, get him hungry for more. I was curious right there, they had a false screen out to the left. I think that would have been an interesting call, and I would have been excited to see if the Bruins are able to get him before he gets into the end zone. See if they do something similar as they have 3 receivers out to the right on this one.
On second and goal, Livingston rolls to his right. In trouble, looking, now throws to the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown! Wow! Easton Benson got the foot down! In double coverage, got the foot down. What a catch! As Timpanogos continues to pour it on.
Yeah, what a play by Luke Livingston. So he's rolling out of the pocket to his right. He's looking over his options, and initially I didn't see like anyone's open. I was like, okay, maybe he's going to try to do something with his feet right here. He had one lead blocker, couldn't really see who it was. He's able to evade pressure and then find Easton Bretsing at the end of the end zone. Bretsing able to redeem himself a little bit after that unfortunate fumble touchback on their last drive. Right there, he's able to, get his team happy, get himself happy as they put their team up by even more here before the PAT.
Harris Reed's extra point is perfect. And so with 4 minutes and 13 seconds left here in the third quarter, it is now 35-11 in favor of Timpanogos.
With 4 minutes and 13 seconds left in the third.
We'll be back after this word from UCCU on KSLSports.com.
Timpanogos 35.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of
Next week, folks, KSL Sports Rewinds will bring you coverage of high school football like you've never seen it before as state champion Highland of Arizona comes in to take on the defending 6A state champion Lone Peak. You don't want to miss that one. Mark Winterton, Jake Hatch have the call next Friday, 7 p.m. on KSLSports.com. No one does a Friday night like KSL Sports Rewind. Harris Reed kicks off. It's a shorter kick this time. And it'll be taken at the 9, out to the 20, making a man miss out to the 15 and getting hog-tied from behind. Right there is Logan Baker.
Received by Baker.
And so with 4:05 left to go here in the third quarter, Brighton Tate with the tackle.
For an 8-yard return, Mountain View, first down.
Mountain View needs to put something together here to show that they're not going to roll over here, Amrine.
No, they really do. I'm really hoping that they get their running game back. Both the play of Lessa and Bahulu, they really need something to kickstart this offense. Just a big play. Even if it's just a little 5-yard gain, something to get this momentum, get the ball rolling.
First and 10 now, ball at the 19. Yard line after the return, and now Lessa comes out, empty backfield. That's a new wrinkle. Bahulu now goes in motion. They fake the screen to him. He steps up. Lessa takes off. He'll be brought down after, call it a gain of 4. Second down and call it maybe 6.
Lessa with the keeper for a 4-yard gain.
Yeah, good job with that play right there. We've seen so many times, especially last week against Juab, where Mountain View runs these little rollouts to Bahulu on the backfield right there. He saw that there was going to be people to meet Bahulu, probably 1 or 2 guys out there, and so he's able to scramble at the middle for a little bit of a gain.
So now Bahulu lines up single set back, and now the ball is dropped. And I think Timpanogos from the signals we're getting looks like they have it. And it is theirs. Brighton Tate with the recovery. And Alex Amrine, it's all going wrong now for the Bruins.
Yeah, that's unfortunate right there. And, when that botch snap came out, the ball was right at, Lessa's feet. I was waiting for him to just fall on it right there, but I guess a great play right there, being first to the ball on the Timpanogos side. Once you give the offense another chance to get up and increase their lead here as we draw to the close of the third quarter with 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
So here comes Livingston again. Livingston has thrown a touchdown tonight. And has caught a touchdown tonight. So he has 15 total touchdowns now in the season. Livingston, flag down, theme of the night. Livingston throws, coming back and making the catch is Graf. But there is a flag down. It came from the umpire, and there's one offensive lineman standing right where the umpire is looking at him. He's trying to plead his case, but I think I know what this call is going to be.
Yeah.
Holding Timpanogos.
I really want to know, actually, as we talk about pleading with cases, I'm a soccer guy. We always see players argue with the refs over yellow cards. Have there been a time, you think, when a ref's like, you know what, you're right?
I'm sure there are plenty of times, but that... Tigran Babayan, by the way, got called for the flag. That'll back it up to first down and a mile. But I'm sure there are times, Amrine, where they go back to the replay and, sometimes you go back to the replay and then you're just thinking to yourself, maybe the referee was right after all. Livingston on first and a mile, throws up the sideline, nearly picked off. And that probably should have been intercepted, jumping the route. Intended for Wheeler.
Yeah, right there. And on that play, the cornerback, the only reason that he didn't pick that off is because Wheeler right there was bumped him a little bit as he was also trying to get the ball. That could have easily gone the other way. A break for the Timberwolves.
Turnovers have been the story of the night. Mountain View has 4 takeaways, Timpanogos 3, but story of the night, Timpanogos has been able to convert all their turnovers into touchdowns. Livingston's got him out wide open up the right side. That's Graf. And Josh Graf is out of bounds inside the 10 with a big gain on second down at 20. They needed 20. He got 22, Amrine. Somebody lost sight of who their man was in zone coverage because Graf was so open. He could have sat in the hot tub while he waited.
Yeah, I don't know if we've seen a route that was that open right there. Just a little hitch route, 8 yards to the first and goal.
First and goal now at the 8. Livingston throws. That's complete to Wheeler. And Wheeler will get spun down inside the 5 at about the 4-yard line.
Pass complete to Wheeler.
First contact made by Ivan Cueva. And looks like we have some more crampage here. Yeah, or this could be another injury here. It looks like we have another injury, and It looks like the man who made the tackle, Cueva's hurt. And it looks like it is cramps.
Yeah, it went down right there. Hopefully it's not an injury. But as you said, we've had a lot of crampage right here. Got to make sure these players are staying hydrated, getting that potassium, eating lots of bananas. I remember one of my, I should say it's actually one of my least favorite Super Bowls of all time when my 18-0 Patriots fell to the Giants that barely snuck into the wild card and fell to 18-1. I still have nightmares about that game. David Tyree catching that helmet catch. But I remember the sidelines were just scattered with banana peels as it was one of the hottest and most humid nights ever recorded in Arizona. And so I just vividly have that in my mind whenever I see cramping going on in football, as we look like we're having a bit of it right here.
So while they tend to Ivan Cueva, we will step aside and be back in 15 seconds after this word from Western Governors University.
College wasn't built for me.
It didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Test day's test day. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
When Brent Brown Toyota in Orem became the #1 Toyota dealer in the nation in customer loyalty, our sales surged. That continued explosive growth leaves us without the amount of used cars to meet demand, paying unheard of prices for trade-ins, or we'll just buy your car outright at Brent Brown Toyota in Orem.
Good to see Ivan Cueva run off the field under his own power. And after cramping up on that last play, we should point out, is a very warm night here in Orem as you're back here in the Bruin Bowl. Alexander Timbo alongside Alex Amrine. Kickoff temperature was 94 earlier this afternoon. It's cooled down significantly to 77.
Yeah, my broadcast partner right here regularly checking the weather app in between on breaks right here.
Well, the defense better be checking Luke Livingston because he throws and it's dropped yet another time. I mean, and Josh Graff has got his hands on his hips. You just saw it there, folks. Gabe Graff is looking at the sideline in a blank space and thinking, what in the world is going on?
Yeah, I really don't have a lot of words for that one from Graff, but at the end of the day, the only consolation is that you're already up by so much. It's not like it's going to cost you the game, but it's still frustrating when the ball's right there. You're wide open.
That's at least the third or fourth drop pass we've seen tonight. They're going to go back to that same play again. Livingston trying to get to the corner, and he gets in. Touchdown.
Livingston with the keeper for the touchdown.
That's Livingston's third touchdown of the night. So he threw one, caught one, and now he's run one. 16 total touchdowns, Amrine.
Yeah, going off that last point, it looked like Easton Bredstein was open on a little out route on that play. But Luke Livingston, I think that's up to that point in the game that the Bruins are doing a pretty good job tracking him down, but not able to keep up with his speed as he runs into the far side of the end zone.
Well, in fairness, Dusty Litzter did say, watch for number 2 throughout the season. And he's showing you why right now as Harris Reed pumps through the extra point. And that makes it 42-11 in favor of Timpanogos.
15 seconds left in the third quarter.
Alex Amrine, I am shaking my head right now. Livingston has 16 total touchdowns.
16 total touchdowns. He once again shows why I think he's one of the best players in this region and in the state. And as well, as far as the scoring goes, we talked about last week how Mountain was able to, they were only down a touchdown last week when we have them against Duap. They ended up losing that game by quite a bit. Similar story right here. They were down by 10 going into halftime. They've been outscored 21-0 just in this third quarter. Now 42-11. whether it's fatigue, whether it's just not making the adjustments necessary at halftime to keep it a close game, this is something that they need to fix if they want to get some wins in the season.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth, Ryan. The Bruins were only down by 7 last week at halftime to Juab. And again, same story here tonight. Getting just plastered here in the third quarter as Reed boots this one away. It's another short kick. I'll be taken on the goal line by Baker. Baker looking for some room. Now cuts across the field. Now he needs some friends. And Logan Baker's going to have some space, and he gets clobbered. Out of bounds about the 30-yard line. My goodness. Brighton Tate came flying in and absolutely knocked the snot out of him. Whoa.
And while it was a good hit by Brandon Tate, they're getting hyped over there on the far sideline. But at the end of the day, they turned what should have been, a negative punt return into a pretty good return on the far side of the play. So I don't think they have a whole lot to be excited about. But then again, at the end of the day, you're up 31. Why not celebrate a little something?
It is the City Triangle after all. Here's one quick tidbit about this rivalry, folks. Timpanogos lost by 40 at home in 2020. They beat Mountain View by 56 last year at home. So as Lessa has Pahulu go the wrong way, now he's in trouble and he is decked. And there is Brighton Tate again. Number on number violence.
Yeah, right there. Lessa looked to his right for the handoff. I think he forgot where Pahulu was as he was off to his left side right there. So I don't think there was any fooling the defense.
As Alex Amrine said, Timpanogos has outscored Mountain View 21-0 here in the third quarter, turning a 10-point game into a 31-point game. Reminder, the mercy rule does not go into effect until we hit 35. So one more touchdown and it will be mercy rule time. Unless Les has something to say about it, and this one is nearly picked. Oh, Tyler Hunter had his hands on that football as he was covering, Bo Peterson man-to-man. And that's one probably he's going to have cold sweats about tonight.
Yeah, and Bo Peterson able to make the defensive play, turn something that, could have been really good and almost went really bad. He was able to turn into something at least okay, at least to sell the ball in the hands of their own quarterback right there. That would have been, as you've said so many times, takeaways have just been the story of this game, and I have no doubt that Timpanogos could have scored off that one.
Pahulu picks up a blitzer on third and long, passes incomplete off the hands of Peterson. And it's another 3 and out for the Mountain View Bruins, and they'll have to punt it away. And Alex Amrine, you talked about how big that touchdown was by Bretzing beating the buzzer. I mean, we just didn't know how much it took the wind out of the sails of the Bruins. It took a lot more out of them than we thought it did.
That sometimes, that's just it. Something about sports that I think so often gets overlooked is just the mental aspect of it. Something that's important to do is you got to focus on the positives. If you let one little play get in the way of your thinking, then it's just going to be a snowball effect. Perhaps that's what happened. I think, too, as well, there's just more talent on the Timpanogos side at the end of the day. But, clearly something like you said, just the wind taken out of their sails, that they have clearly slowed down on both sides of the ball.
Timeout is called by the Bruins as they had not enough players on the punt formation. We'd like to remind you, coming up at the conclusion of this game, Alex Amrine and I will be selecting our choice for the Heidemann & Associates Player of the Game. Heidemann & Associates is a full-service law firm dedicated to winning for their clients, whether you need patents for your business or you need to handle estate planning. Heidemann & Associates is there for you. Call 801-754-4240 or visit them online at utah.law. We are glad to have Heidemann & Associates as our proud sponsor of KSL Sports Rewind all season long. Again, that's coming up at the conclusion of our game. Alexander Timolip, Alex Amrine here at the Bruin Bowl. Mountain View and Timpanogos, the second leg of the City Triangle rivalry. It has been all Timpanogos here in the third quarter as another end-over-end punt. And this one is caught on the run by Hunter, who fumbles it. But I think the Timberwolves got back on top of it. And so they did.
Yeah, it's tempting on those kind of punts when you're the punt returner to almost get a running start. You run into a catch and just go because you have all that speed behind you, momentum. The risk you run at that is if you don't get there in time as it happened right there. Timpanogos fortunate to be on the receiving end of that fumble.
So again, we just want to remind you folks that across high school football, there is a mercy rule, and it's at 35 points. It's the same in Utah high school football. It's the same in Hawaii high school football. If we reach 35, the clock will run continuously, and it will only stop on scoring plays. That is the only time it will stop. It will not stop for incomplete passes. It will not stop for out-of-bounds plays. Just want to remind you folks, if the Timberwolves do score here on this drive a touchdown, it will be a running clock as Yosefo takes the handoff to the left side at the 40, puts his head down, and just pulls over a man right at the 34-yard line. Well, it might be a 31-point game, but I don't think anybody cares on that sideline right now.
I love to see that energy. Keep on dropping the shoulder despite the lead.
Livingston, pressure coming, ball's out, and recovered by the Mountain View Bruins. Just what the doctor ordered for this Bruins team when everything was going wrong here in the third quarter. They get their 5th takeaway of the night.
I would love to have seen instant replay on those, because that's one of those where I think could have been just like a picture shot right there to see if his knee was down yet before. Obviously, the refs have a much better view of it, and the Bruins get the ball. Another saving grace, but as you said, they scored, what did you say, 3 points off these 5 takeaways? Let's see if they can make it a bit more than 3 on this 5th one.
Yep, that has been the story of the game. Mountain View only has 3 points off 4 takeaways. And it has not been real good sledding for this Bruins team here in the third quarter. Outscored 21-zip. Lessa, pressure, sacked. Yeesh. Joe Vance and Brighton Tate brought him down from behind. It goes down officially as a sack. It's no gain, and that will probably take us to the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, right there, Lotoa Lesa looks like he tried to get rid of the ball, but it looks like he was down before then. He's going to set up 2nd and long as we end the third quarter. Plenty of football to play, but it looks like this game is going to be Timpanogos' to lose.
And that will do it. Clock runs out here in the third quarter. A 21-0 explosion here by the Timpanogos Timberwolves has them up by 31. We'll have the fourth quarter for you next here on KSLSports.com. We'll be back after this word from the Salt Lake Running Company.
Salt Lake Running Company is inspiring our community to move with purpose, embrace adventure, and consciously connect to their bodies. Exercise is essential, now more than ever. Take control of the chaos and make time for you. From the gym to the trail, SLRC can help you find the focus to define your finish line. Visit one of our 5 locations along the Wasatch Front or shop online at slrc.com.
Ready to start the fourth quarter of KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of high school football. This is Timpanogos football on KSL Sports Rewind, presented by Brent Brown, Toyota Scion, Alexander Timberlake, Alex Amrine on this very warm Friday night here in Orem. The second leg of the City Triangle rivalry between Mountain View and Timpanogos. 21 unanswered. In total now, 28 unanswered by the Timberwolves. If you go back to the touchdown by Easton Bretzing to end the first half, to turn turn what was a 3-point game into a 31-point game. Free rusher coming off the edge, and Lessa sacked. Nash Price on the safety blitz came screaming through the gap.
And they've had so much success bringing their corners and safeties down for the blitz in this game. It's got to be the second or third time that someone in the secondary has been able to take down Lessa, and that's now back-to-back sacks. Great play by the Timberwolves defense.
Bahuluna lines up in the backfield on 3rd down and 12. And they're just going to hand it to him and let him do his thing. And Messi Bahula might do more than his thing. Penalty flag goes down as he's shoved out of bounds. As Tage Litzner got ragdolled by Calvin Floyd, and Lister didn't like it.
Yeah, Lister was.
And it looks like Lister might be coming. Lister was running off to the sideline on a. That's not a good sign. He's holding on to that shoulder.
Yeah, as soon as he went down, you know, he's grabbing his arm. Sometimes that'll happen when you get one of the worst pains I think in football is when you have your arm across your body and the face mask just comes across and just traps your arm in between your own torso and the face mask. And you know, hopefully it's nothing too serious. Hopefully it's just, you know, that impact hit. And it does look like it is going to be a flag on the Mountain View side. Unfortunately, that's been one of Pahulu's best runs of the night.
Yeah, and it wipes out a big gain too, because it makes it 3rd down and 5 from where the foul was, and so that's a really unfortunate break for the Mountain View Bruins. 3rd down and 5 now. Cueva now lines up as the single setback. Peterson goes in motion to the left, and Lessa to throw in that direction for Peterson. It's behind him and incomplete, and Lessa got clobbered at the end of that play, and there have been a lot of those all night long, and boy, if there's one thing you don't want to see, it's this, and this is not going to make the Mountain View fans very happy.
No, and it's one of those things that's unfortunate when, you know, the opposing side is up by so
Oh
much,
my goodness.
and then a player gets hurt, let alone your starting quarterback. As, you know, Mountain View side takes a knee right here, and the crowd goes quiet, of course, praying and hoping for the best.
Yeah. And Abe Poduska's
Attention fans, at the conclusion of the game, we invite our friends from Timpanogos to exit through the northwest exit.
So we will take
Mountain
a break
View fans, please
with
exit
them,
through the southwest exit.
and we will be back as they attend to Lotoa Lessa.
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift.
Or if my kid had a fever.
Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I want to take tests when I'm ready.
I want to take courses on my time.
And speed up when I know my stuff.
I want a university that cares about me.
Tests on your time, courses on your time, graduate on your time. WGU, the nonprofit university of you.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit.
Major concern for Lotoa Lessa as he comes out holding, as the trainer is helping him off, and that the coach is holding on to his left arm. We obviously don't want to speculate anything, but boy, just really not the way you want to see this one end. Another low snap. That's a line drive punt by Austin. Oswald? Excuse me. By Austin Atwood. It will go through the end zone. That's a touchback.
Yeah, no backspin on that one to keep them trapped up in their own area right there. And, you know, we're hoping that Lissa is okay. Our cameraman, Doug, who's got eyes of an eagle, looked like he was grabbing his left shoulder right there. He's coming off. I myself have broken that clavicle before. Not saying that's what it is. And like I said, we don't want to speculate. The good news is, if it is a worst-case scenario like that, thankfully it is something that can heal in a decent amount of time. But I still got the scar to prove it. So hoping he's okay. It looks like he's getting treatment from his own staff right there. As we see the Timberwolves offense get set up once more.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. Lotoa Lessa on the sideline. You saw him just there. Livingston will take the keeper himself, and he'll get over the 25 out to the 27. Close to the 28-yard line.
Handoff to Livingston.
Yeah, good job by Livingston right here. I think that you really are in that part of the offense. Well, it's curious because last week I said the same thing. I'm like, oh, it's going to run out the clock. They kept on throwing. They kept on keeping their offense dynamic and diverse. So I guess we could see more of the same. But in this position, just run the ball.
Livingston fakes the screen. Looking, takes off. Now gets a couple of blocks. Going to take off now on his own. puts his head down, and he'll get the first down across the 28, the 30-yard line, out close to the 33. That's enough to move the sticks there, Alex Amrine.
Yeah, heck of a play by Livingston right there. And it is curious, as I just said, why not just run the play, don't risk any kind of injury. Especially when you have probably your best offensive weapon, Luke Livingston, still running the ball and dropping a shoulder right there.
Yosefo takes the handoff. And he'll be brought down after a short gain of 2 with some extracurricular activity again between Wheeler and Lucas Bautista out there on the edge, and that's the way it's been all night. It's been chippy, it's been nasty. It started with that blindside block by Messi Pahulu as the line judge comes over, and now we have a flag, and I believe we have just gotten an unsportsmanlike conduct here against the bench, and that's the last thing you want to see.
Yeah, not sure which coach said something. Either way, the ref didn't like it.
Hey, sideline warning, and that's going to result in a 5-yard penalty. That's going to result in yeah, that's a second sideline warning according to our cameraman Doug, so that's a 5-yard penalty and will be moved up. It has been that kind of a game, folks. It has been chippy, it has been nasty, and it has been, for the most part, all Timpanogos, but I don't think the stats, Amrine, really accurately reflect just how competitive this has been between these two teams.
Yeah, and like you said, takeaways, that can so easily change the dynamic of a game. As the ball goes over the middle right there, incomplete. Incomplete to Graf right there as the quarterback took a hit as he released that pass right there. Good job disrupting that pass. That might have been the reason I was a bit high.
We're letting the clock run to where it is on the scoreboard here, folks. And remember, the clock on your score bug is unofficial. So Livingston now lines up as the receiver to the right. MJ Yosefo, again, was hit low by Messi Pahulu, who came on the blitz. 3 or 4 late hits on both sides of the ball. And at some point, Randall Silcox's crew is going to just start stepping in and throwing the flags.
Yeah, so many rough hits here and there. We were roughing the passer. I'm surprised we didn't.
We saw that. We saw that from a mile away.
Yeah, I mean, Yosefo had a hard hit on the last one. Of course, it was right as releasing the ball, so it wouldn't have been a penalty. But Yosefo looks like he's talking to the coach. He's got to feel banged up here in the 4th.
Yeah, they're going to need some ice bags on him after this. I mean, Yosefo also took that low hit earlier, Amrine, on the earlier play.
Yeah, he was out for a while.
Yep. Yosefo looking, gonna gun it for Livingston, and a coverage off his hands. Oh!
Pass intended for Livingston, incomplete.
I mean, he had his man beat one-on-one, and it just would not behave on his hands.
Oh, man. As he dropped back to throw that one, as soon as he threw it, I was looking back, and I'm like, Luke Livingston's a little bit behind the corner, and then he just sprinted ahead. We know the speed that he has. He turned on the jets, got the ball one hand, but just not enough. It was kind of an outside shoulder pass. Those are so hard to catch. We know Luke Livingston's talent, not able to reel it in there, as now he's lined up under center.
And now he is back to pass here on 2nd and long as he gets sacked. Messi Pahulu.
Livingston brought down by Pahulu.
No one picked him up on that one. And it brings up 3rd and long again.
Yeah, Pahulu definitely slowed down in the second half. It's got to give him some motivation for the games ahead, for the rest of the season, that he's able to make plays on both sides of the ball. When the offense isn't working, this defense has, despite the score, they've had their share of turnovers, they've had their share of sacks. That's got to give the defense, just a little feeling of reconciliation.
Yeah, in case you're just joining us, folks, that's been the story of the night. Mountain View has 5 takeaways, but have only converted them into 3 points. Livingston now the H-back on 3rd and a mile. Yosefo is going to throw wide open and incomplete again as Graf was by himself. That had a little extra catch-up on it there from Yosefo. It's 4th down, and for the first time tonight, at least in a while, we are going to see a Timpanogos punt.
Yeah, and like you pointed out earlier, when we don't have starting quarterback Chase Riggs, it's actually up here to our left on the top of the press box right here. He was actually last week right there just viewing the plays. We don't have him, a guy who's so accurate with the football. Those passes are going to be off by a little bit, and as a receiver, you have to be kind of on your toes to be able to catch the ball when it's going to be out a little bit further to your left than you would normally have it.
Yeah. Riggs was the leading passer in the region when he was injured, as Harris Reed's punt goes out of bounds at the 4. Nice coffin corner there.
Yeah, no, that is one of my favorite things in football, is when they're able to just pin him back. It really shows the value that special teams have to change the whole dynamic of an upcoming drive. And going back to Chase Riggs, he sat down and had an interview with Hive Sports, and he was basically talking about the talent of this team. They have so many returning players. They had a pretty good year last year. And so, as the scoreline shows, this team is, not short of talent. It's not one of those teams that falls apart as soon as their quarterback goes out. And so I'm very interested to see, how well they do once he gets back into action. We hope, that he has a speedy recovery. We see him up here. He's got a brace over his shoulder, but he's walking around good, looks to be okay. So I'm excited to see, as we've seen some throws missed here and there, but imagine those are completed. I think that they have a much higher score here.
Timpanogos will play Cedar Valley next week on Thursday. That game will be on KJZZ. As it looks like Mountain View has their backups in the game now. It's Bo Peterson who's taking the snaps at quarterback now.
Yeah, I told you he was my X factor. I didn't even know he played quarterback. So.
Yeah. Seven minutes, 12 seconds and rolling here in the fourth quarter. Peterson from the gun. High snap in the end zone, and he's going to have to throw this one up the sideline, and throws it away. It doesn't look like, though, there was any receiver in the area. I wonder out loud if they might throw the flag, and there it is.
Pass intended for that one incomplete.
Throw is on
There's
our
a flag
side.
on the play.
The flag came on the far side.
There is a flag on the far side, but Amrei, normally when there's intentional grounding, you normally see the flag thrown in the end zone.
Yeah.
So potentially this could be ineligible. Yeah, it's an eligible man downfield against. Well, there were several ineligible men downfield. I mean, there was about 3 or 4 offensive linemen downfield that were more than 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, and you can't do that.
That's one of those things that's so hard to avoid when it's a broken pocket and your quarterback scrambling for his life.
So now second down or third down rather, and 10 from the 4. Peterson hands off and over the 10, out close to the 10, and getting hogtied. It's running back on that play. Sorry, we don't have the name on that one. And just like that, it's 3 and out, and the Bruins will have to punt it away. And that means Austin Atwood will go back standing on the end there in the end zone.
Hey, punt's one of my favorite plays.
We've seen a lot of those from the red and gold tonight. Tyler Hunter standing back at his 44. Back judge yelling out that there's 10 on the play clock. And a good punt, line drive. Hunter from the 42. 30. And brought down at the 29-yard line.
And it's a good thing he was brought down right there, because I think he had a bit of an alley up to the left field. I don't think there was maybe 2 more players, 1 blocker, and the punter is back there, but I think Hunter could have had a good amount of space. Bring it back to the house.
Hunter Hopoate credited with the stop. So out comes Livingston and the offense again. Officially at the 28, 1st and 10 for Timpanogos. Livingston hands off to Yosefo, gets into the stack, and he'll be stopped after a pickup of, call it, maybe 2.
Hand off to Yosefo.
Yeah, props to the Yosefo right there, showing his energy. I mean, as we said, he's been banged up. He was out for a little bit right there, almost the entirety of a whole quarter. Came back, took back-to-back hard hits when he was playing under center, including one that resulted in a roughing the passer call. Wasn't able. Mountain View was able to bring him down with 3 or 4 people wrapping him up right there. That just shows what an incredibly strong running back and player he is.
Mountain View will play Uintah next week. As Livingston back to pass, throws over the middle. It is intercepted. Picked off in the end zone by Austin Atwood. That's turnover number 6 on the night for the Timpanogos Timberwolves. I mean, if there's one upside I think Abe Podolsky can be really happy about, it's the turnovers.
Yeah, their ability to take away the ball has been great. And, at the end of the day, we know how many points have been scored on the Timpanogos side of the ball just off of takeaways that their defense has caused. And on that last play, Luke Livingston, I think he made the exact right call. Going for that slot receiver, he was open, just lacked the distance in the throw.
And so they'll mark him at the 1. So they have 99 yards to go, as it looked like the ball was, again, the momentum carried the player into the end zone, but it's the first point where the player touches the ball where it's blown dead. From the 1, here's a handoff to Ivan Cueva. Over left guard, he'll pick up about 3. Like we said, Mountain View will play Uintah next week. And, of course, if anyone's wondering about other scores going on, the Battle of Davis County going on over on the KSL TV app with Jeremiah Jensen and Stevenson Sylvester. Davis leading Layton 10-3. Game of note, of course, Alex Amrine and mine's first game together was at Davis High School, December 11, 2021, in case anybody's paying attention, as Cueva gets into the stack, he gets swallowed up, no gain, if anything. That was a long time ago, Amrine, on that cold Saturday night up in Kaysville.
No, I remember that. I remember we got up there, we got out of the car, and it was blowing, just hard winds. And I remember actually as we were leaving the game, do you remember when someone approached us and mistook us for
oh, yes, I do remember. I do remember that. I do remember that. That was hilarious.
I was so confused.
Now,
yeah, go ahead.
That was the night. That was the night we did get mistaken for that. As Cueva takes it up the middle, he'll get the first down and more out to about the 20. But that's the reason why, folks, we stopped wearing, Alex and I, the shirts and the ties after that, because we didn't want that happen again.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's funny. We had someone approach our car, rolled down my window, and he asked if we knew where the local church was, and I was like, no. And then I realized afterwards, as we were leaving the parking lot, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it hits you. It hits you.
So now, we're rocking the polos and the button-ups now. Just no tie. A little less formal, a little more relaxed.
Yeah, but I've got the Aloha wear on tonight as Cueva takes it left guard for a gain of close to 6.
Handout to Cueva.
You have so much state pride, you put Texans to shame.
Well, that pride better stay up because Punahou is coming to play Orem next week, down the road, of note, in case anybody's paying attention. It's a big couple of weeks for high school football in Hawaii. Kahuku will play St. Francis, Maryland, in Maryland, in a couple of weeks.
That's quite the trip.
Get real. 5,000 miles across that way as Cueva takes it up the middle for 6.
Cueva, 8-yard gain, Mountain View,
8
first down.
And a first down for the Bruins. We are under 3 minutes to go here at the Bruin Bowl. 42-11 is our score. And there you see Loto Alesa there with his jersey off. And that, Alex Amrine, is not a good sign.
Yeah, good ice pack. At the very least, if it was something very serious, he wouldn't be walking around as easily as he was. Be walking around, he did walk on the field pretty gingerly. But, Bahulu consoling him right there as well as one of his wide receivers. And so it's good to see that he's got that support from his teammates. But like I said, if it was serious, he'd probably be out of here or got a cast on. It just looks like it's iced up. So hopefully we can see him back in action next week.
2 minutes, 13 seconds and rolling here at the Bruin Bowl. Peterson from the gun. Hand off to Cueva. Breaks to a crease. He'll get over the 40, out to the 45, out to the 47-yard line. That's enough for a first down.
Hand off to 25 for a 12-yard gain. Mountain View, first down.
154 rolling here at the Bruin Bowl. Again, coming up at the end of the game, Alex Amrine and I will be selecting our choice for the Heidemann and Associates Player of the Game. Presented by Heidemann and Associates.
And I have a pretty good idea of who I want to choose. I have a pretty good idea of who I think you're going to choose, but as well, I think there's been a few other contenders in this game.
There have been. There have been. And, I think, Alex Amrine, as we wind this game down, I think we should tell the viewers at home that we found out a lot about this Timpanogos team and also about this Mountain View team tonight. I mean, Mountain View, as you said, very good defense, can take the ball away. There's some positives on their side. And on the Timpanogos side, maybe things might be a little bit greener with, Livingston at quarterback.
Yeah, and I think that there's always room to grow. Definitely more room to grow for this Mountain View team, as the scoreboard indicates, but a lot of rooms to improve as Luke Livingston and MJ Iosefo continue to improve the game of quarterback. Lessening the amount of turnovers that they have is certainly something they're going to want to work on in weeks coming as they face more talented opponents.
Peterson going to launch one up the sideline. The pass is incomplete. Pretty well covered.
For Baker, incomplete.
Logan Baker, the intended target there for Bo Peterson. 50 seconds left here in the game.
To the northwest exit.
Timpanogos will play Uinta next Thursday. That game will be on KJZZ with Dave Fox and the boys. Kickoff will be at 7. Alex Amrine and I will be off to West against Roy next week, Friday. What a week of football we're going to have for you next week on KSLSports.com as Cueva takes the handoff up the middle. And he'll be brought down short of the first down.
Handoff to Cueva.
And that should do it. Unless the Bruins want to run one more play, which I don't think they will. Peterson's looking over at A. Poduska. Poduska's got the headset off. And they'll just let it roll. What a week of football we've got coming up, Alex Amrine. West against Roy, Bingham taking on American Fork, Skyridge against Timpview, and of course the big one, the state champion showdown, Highland against Lone Peak. What a Friday night we have next week.
Yeah, that's certainly one of the ones I'm looking forward to. Highland coming from Arizona. They had such a great season last year. And going against Lone Peak, always a team that has so much talent and great coaching. And this game, it was interesting. I think that we did predict that Timpanogos was going to win. But look at the stat lines, which they take so many times at this point.
Will be on the 23rd of September, taking on
back with more post-gamer coverage. Alex Amrine and I will select our player of the game, and we'll have a look forward to next week's Super Showdowns. You're watching KSL Sports pre-match coverage from Timpanogos football, presented by Brent Brown, Toyota, Scion.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit.
Welcome back to KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of high school football. Timpanogos football. KSL Sports Rewind is presented by Brent Brown, Toyota Scion. Alexander Timolip, Alex Amrine here with you at the Bruin Bowl. 42-11, your final score. Timpanogos defeats Mountain View in the City Triangle game. Okay, Amrine, final thoughts on this one?
Well, I think it's, very similar to the game that Mountain View had last week against Juab. They were just down by a touchdown at halftime. Tonight they were just down by 10. Would have been 3 if they were able to prevent Timpanogos from scoring that late touchdown at the end of the first half. Maybe that would have, kept this game closer. Perhaps it was just too much momentum going against them, as we really just saw this team kind of disintegrate and fall apart in every way, shape, and form. Even with Latoa Lesa getting injured, as we see them gathering for appreciation for the student section, their fans. But at the end of the day, I think the main takeaway is just Timpanogos, they're on a roll, and they have some great talents.
Yeah, Timpanogos 4-0 now, and Mountain View falls to 0-4. They're now 0-1 in region play. We should point out Timpanogos now 1-0 in region play. And Alex Amrine, it's time now, as Mountain View performs the fight song in the alma mater, to select our Heidemann and Associates player of the game. It's surprise, it's not Luke Livingston tonight. Who do we select?
Well, I think it was Brandon Tate, right? Or?
Yes, it was Brighton Tate. Exactly right.
Yeah, and Luke Livingston does so much, now with 17 touchdowns on the year. We just saw how much that Tate can do. We saw that what a versatile player he was. He can really just change the pace of a game. He adds so much to that side of the ball. And so, up and away, I think that he was a player that helps, make this game a blowout for the Timpanogos Timberwolves.
Timpanogos, by the way, like we said, will play Cedar Valley next week. That game will be on KJZZ with Dave Fox and the crew. Coverage starts at 6:45 on KJZZ 14, CBS Utah. And Mountain View will be off to play Uintah next week on Saturday. But Alex Amrine, boy, I just tell the viewers at home, we have a lot of good football to look forward to next week. Skyridge against Timpview, American Fort taking on Bingham, West against Roy is the game we'll be going to, but Highland AZ against Lone Peak. What a showdown that's going to be coming up that Mark Winterton and Jake Hatch have.
Yeah, and if any of you out there have the means, I highly recommend that you tune into that one. That game's going to be just a show of masterclass talent. I'm excited to keep up with that game as we cover the game for Roy, and I'm excited for the weeks ahead.
It is going to be a very exciting time, folks. Highland, Arizona, by the way, played in the Geico State Champions Bowl Series last December. That should tell you just how good those defending Arizona 6A state champions are. Well, Alex Amrine, that was fun. It was a great night for a rivalry game. And now it's time to rest up for our long road trip to Roy next week.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to enjoy it, folks. We have a lot of good football coming up over the next few weeks. Again, your final score is Timpanogos 42, Mountain View 11 for our cameraman Doug Jardine, and for Dusty Litzter back in the studio with Vince Francis in Salt Lake. My name is Alexander Timothy for my broadcast partner Alex Amrine. You've been watching KSL Sports Rewind's presentation of high school football. Timpanogos football, KSL Sports Rewind is presented by Brent Brown Toyota Scion. Until we meet again, malama pono ke kahi, take care of one another.